All right, I'm glad you guys are here this morning. Are you all ready to end the year strong? Yeah, ready to end the year strong. Well, you're in the right place to end the year strong. And I know people will be filing in, but I don't want to get started late because we have a lot of good speakers and we got to stay on track to get you out of here at 12:30. So, what I want to start today with is a question. I want to see how well y'all know your job descriptions. So this is going to be a little bit interactive. If you've been in any of Dean Frederick's recent sessions, you're disqualified from answering this question. So the question is, and whoever gets it right, I have a $25 gift card for it. If it says to Lincoln on the back, don't worry, I'm not stealing my son's gift cards. I traded him V-Bucks for his Fortnite game, for his gift card, so don't worry, it's my money, I promise you that. So, how well do y'all know your job description? I want to know who can describe in the most simple form what your job as a real estate agent is. Lead generation. Dawn, are you cheating? No. Dawn got the gift card right off the bat. That is correct. A lot of times when we ask this question, people start to talk about what they do on a regular basis, whether that's like get their client the best home in the place that they want it, in their dream home, yada, 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 be of service. But at the end of the day, if we were to boil down our job description as realtors, if we don't do the lead gen, we don't get paid, right? You're not going to get closings unless you have leads coming in. Right or right? Right. True story. So that's why this Finish Strong session today is going to be full of practical, tactical things where we have rock star agents getting up here and sharing with you their specific niche that has worked for them for lead gen. And that's kind of what I like about real estate, because it's not a one size fits all. One person can lead gen doing one thing, and it works great for them for their specific situation. And another agent might rock it at another thing that's completely different, but they're both generating leads at a high level, right? I don't know how many ways there are to lead gen, but Gene Frederick wrote a book called 101 Ways to Lead Gen. I think there's more now, especially with AI. There's tons of things that you can possibly do. We're going to drill down on probably 5 or 6 of those ways today, but you guys don't want to miss it. At first, I was going to do this whole thing where we broke out in different groups across the room, and each of these grad speakers kind of took a group of you, and you got to choose which one you want to learn about. But when I started talking to each speaker, I was like, nobody wants to miss your session. Nobody wants to miss your session. So we decided to let each of them come on stage and share with you their tips and tricks and ways that they go about doing what they do at such a high level. Are y'all ready to roll? Let's also mention this. Lead gen today. Let's talk about the sales cycle of selling a house. How long does it take from the time that a lead comes in today to get it across the finish line to a potential commission check? 28.87. Dawn says 28.87 touches. She's going to win all the I don't know if that's right. That's right for her. But I'm talking time-wise. How long does it take? Say you get the lead. You got the lead. You got them even under contract. How long? And that's a whole process. It might take 28.7 touches to even get to that point. So that took time. After you've touched them that many times, you get the lead, you sign the agreement with them. How much longer are you having to wait to get that home sold and that contract into fruition and a paycheck in your hand?
Isn't it situational depending on the client itself?
It's going to be situational. That's why there's something called like an average day of market. But let's talk about today. What would you expect? What could you expect? It's going to be somewhat situational. But I'm trying to get us to how to look at it. 90 days. 60 to 90 days. So if I generate a lead today, I'm not thinking that's money in the bank, first of all, yet. Like 50% of the deals aren't even going through right now, right? Y'all experiencing that? It's kind of crazy out there in these streets. Well, say it is one of them that goes through. What's the average days on market in y'all's market?
About 60.
Yeah, call town right now is 60 days. I know, like Fancy Nancy, she's in my group. This girl, she has, I think, 20 listings right now. A couple of them in Plano have been sitting for over 100 days. That's rough. So what I'm trying to drill home to y'all is that the lead gen that you're doing right now is going to determine how you start your 2026. That's why it's so important that we finish strong and we don't take our foot off the gas. A lot of agents they take the last part of the year off because it's holidays. They think not a lot of showings are happening during these holidays. And you kind of tend to say, I want to enjoy the holiday season too. But if you do that, what's future you going to think in January and February? Poverty. What? Poverty. Poverty! You're not going to be happy with yourself. So before we get this first speaker on the stage, I actually have a little special guest. And this special guest, she knows a thing or two. She actually has an inside track on how important these next couple months are to finish the year strong. And that guest, let me get my clicker. Where was that clicker? Here it is. Thank you to our sponsors. We'll be thanking them later and letting you know today. Oh, it's Future Me. Look at that.
You do look great. That bus driver's insurance paying off, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think you're doing great so far here in 2026. But seriously, I'm here to tell you, don't slack off now. I know Netflix and like those shows you've been watching, they're tempting. But these leads, they're not going to generate themselves.
Good point, Future Me. So what specifically have I been doing in these last couple months of 25 to make you so proud?
Well, besides finally figuring out that copy machine of yours, thank you for that, by the way. It was the lead gen that you're doing right now. Seriously, that's where the magic's at. And hey, don't forget to let AI do some of the heavy lifting. Even I, in the future, am impressed with everything that AI is doing.
All right, so I got it. So we're not going to do anything in these next couple months to make our future selves roll their eyes at us, right, Nicole? So today we're going to drill down, we're going to learn, we're going to get going, we're going to get motivated and sell between now and the end of the year. We're going to make you proud.
Sounds awesome. I wish I was there. Oh, wait. I am. You guys, today is going to be off the chain. Get your pen and paper out, take some notes, because you do not want to miss what these speakers have in store. Oh, Nicole, can I do the first intro?
Of course you would want to do this first intro. You know what, Nicole? Knock your socks off. Go right ahead.
Okay, great. So as if they don't already know about the Don Hawk, but let's give the glory where it's due. He's a true pioneer in real estate marketing and leadership. Don has spent over 4 decades inspiring agents and entrepreneurs worldwide. As co-founder of eXp Partners and Hobbs & Carter Advertising, he revolutionized personal branding in real estate and was named one of Realtor Magazine's top 25 most influential people in real estate. Also, former president of Success Enterprises, Don began his career working alongside the great Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins, and has since shared stages with industry icons impacting over 1 million professionals. Today, he continues to help agents build powerful businesses and extraordinary lives through speaking, coaching, and leadership across the globe. Please help me welcome to the stage, the Don Hawk.
Thank you, Nicole. Kurt, Nicole, future Nicole. Thank you both. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am very excited to be here with all of you, and pumped up about this whole idea of finishing strong. How many are excited about what's going to happen in 2026? By the way, how many are hoping it's better than 2025 for you?
Yeah.
How many think it's absolutely essential that it's better than 2025 for you, right? So it depends on where you've been. We talk to agents that have had their all-time best years this year. We also know agents that have struggled. In fact, we're seeing the numbers of agents that are leaving the business go up because it's been an interesting market. So today I want to talk about how we build momentum to finish strong through the end of the year, because it's Nicole said, or future Nicole said, one of them. What you have to understand is that what you're doing right now is not impacting right now. And that's where we really have the fallacy. If we let up, if we ease up, we can take some time off. We're independent contractors. Heck, I'm in business for myself. I can do whatever I want. And I want you to write this down as your first note. There's very little difference between self-employed and unemployed. Isn't that true?
Yes.
So unless you take charge of what you're doing and are doing the right things, you won't have a chance because you're going to fall behind. I want to introduce you to my mentor. This was covered by future Nicole, and when she said that my mentor is Jim Rome. So I'm 18 years old. I joined Jim's company. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He's very findable on YouTube. Probably bigger known in death. He's been gone for 16 years now than he was in life, and yet he impacted millions and millions of people around the world. I had a chance to spend 8 years with him, and a big doggy kid came into our camp when I was there for 3 months. His name was Tony Robbins. He wasn't quite as big and quite as doggy as he is now, but he was amazing then as he is now, and we had a chance to work together. So Jim's impact on me was tremendous. I actually considered him my father figure. I didn't have a good relationship with my dad, and this was my dad. And so, I love the wisdom that came from this guy, and if you find him, he's quotable, he's got books on quotes, right? Very findable. This played out for me, and I thought this was really important for us to get to today. And it says, it's not what happens that determines the quality of your life. What happens to all of us. I'll give you a simple example. Yesterday, the weather changed. We went from summer to winter. There might have been 3 days of fall. I can't quite tell you, but it seems like there might have been 3 days of fall. But what happened in the weather, whether it was a massive storm, we got hit by lightning in the last storm last week. We got hit by lightning and blew a bunch of stuff in our house. All right, that didn't happen to everybody. But the storm happened to everybody. The market is the market. The market happens for everybody. How come some are doing well and some are not? Well, it's because the next part is what's really true. It's not what happens that determines the quality of your life. It's what you do with what happens. It's the actions that you take. So in the end, it comes down to your choices. And I want to make sure today that you really have some things that says free. What? Nicole? Well, we're going to play with this, maybe. I think what I forgot to do, Nicole. Nicole, I need your help, please. Could you reset it? Just restart it, reset it. Not
Pretty sure
restart it.
Nicole should have said something. She should have said something.
Yeah. So let me give you the first question, which actually I should have just known. Here it is. So when you set your goals, so restart. No, don't do that. Just hit the redo up here. There you go.
Got it.
Because I changed things and they didn't reflect.
Got it.
Okay, so when you set goals, the question is, are you setting goals through the filter of what's possible? Listen to my question carefully. What's possible, or through the filter of your beliefs? Absolutely. So is that the truth of what's possible in this market right now? Meaning, if we've got a market that's equal for all people, generally speaking, and some people are having their all-time best years, and sometimes some people are having their absolute worst years, what's the difference? And it has to do with their expectations. Yes? So when you set goals, are you thinking about your own belief system? Because here's what I know. Allison and I cruised last year in Sardinia. And we were on 7 sailboats with 7 to 8 people per each, and we sailed the whole whatever ocean we were in. And we had a great time. Well, he's not going to like me at all. Okay, so we keep going, and we'll tell you about Sardinia. So we're going along, and guess whose boat is next to all of our boats? As we go every day to New Harbor, guess who's next to us? Jeff Bezos. His 360-foot yacht. Imagine a football field, including the end zones. 360-foot yacht. By the way, that's not the end of it, because next to it was his 280-foot supply boat. That's where all the stuff is. That's where the helicopter lands. That's where all the guests come to. Then they cruise across to the boat, which is his boat. So I want you to think about it. In the same 24 hours that you and I make whatever we make, $50,000, $150,000, $300,000, $500,000, $1 million. How much is he making? In the same time. Hundreds of millions of dollars per month. or at least tens of millions of dollars per month, probably in the range of hundreds. And so what I want you to think about is, are we setting to what's possible? How many of you know agents that are doing better than you? You should all raise your hands. If you don't know people that are doing better than you, you don't know enough people. You're not in the right rooms. Okay, so honestly, it becomes now, question number 2 is, oh shoot. Wasn't the question I had in mind, but we'll do this one. Why do you want what you want? And I guess my third question for you, it'll come to mind, but my second question for you is, why do you want what you want? How did you settle on that? Again, I know your beliefs dictate a lot of it. I also understand one thing is really true, and that is, we most often are setting goals for other people. And I want you to be really clear today that you should be setting goals for yourself. What do you want? Not what does your family think, not what are your peers saying about you, how are you comparing yourself to others, right? What are the things that you want for you? And then let's get really clear about those things. And here's what I want you to really start to get clear about. The actions that you're taking are really important, and they have to be in alignment. And there goes my third question. Are your actions in alignment with your goals? Really important question. So here's where you are today. There's where you want to be someday. Let's not go too far out someday so we can talk about 2026. Why not? It's on us, right? We're working in 2026 right now. So let's go out and we say, how do I get what I want done? I'm going to set some goals. All right. And then I'm going to take action. I was there at the Finish Strong program. I heard Stacy Leslie do something. Stacy Leslie, I got it. I was like, so funny. She and I had this thing. 2 first names gets me every time. Okay? Just saying. So I heard something great and I take an action, and there, I look like a genius. People go, that's way smart. Where'd you learn that? I go, I went to the program. Okay, that's great. Now another day goes by, or a week goes by, or a month goes by, and I'm known as like Mr. Next One Thing. Right? Allison says all the time, I'm like, one more thing, one more thing, one more thing. I think of one more thing, and guess what? I take the action step. And in itself, it looks great, but is it in alignment with where I'm going? Well, then I get up another weekday, month later, and I think it's something else, and I take that action step, and then I take another action step. And pretty soon I realize that I've gone through a whole lot of actions. And yet, am I really going the direction that I wanted to go, or am I just taking action? Am I just busy? So if we come back to this, and we will later in this talk, we'll get back to, or later this afternoon, we'll get back to how do we align those things perfectly so that you can really build what you want to build, starting today, 2026, in your sights right now. And here's the question, are you taking purposeful actions? And if you're not taking purposeful actions, today's the day to stop that. Today's the day to start new, because here's what I know, the gap between where you end up when you've wasted all your time and you've gotten to the end of the year and you're sitting there going, crap, I didn't get it, I didn't do it, I didn't make it. The gap in there is called missed opportunity, and guess what? It isn't missed for everybody, it's missed for you. Somebody else got it. There are listings being taken right now as we sit here. Don't leave to go get them, I'm just saying. There are listings being taken today that you're not going to get. There are sales being made today, working with buyers today that you're not getting. So ultimately, we have to figure out, how do we stop the gap? How do we get that gap filled in and do more things? Well, here's what I want you to take away from it, because ultimately, you may beat yourself up and say, I've really had a bad year, I can't believe I've let myself down. By the way, note to self, don't figure it out in October. Figure that out back in February. At some point in time, you should be saying, hey, I'm off track. It's only 1 month late. I can get caught up. In October, hard to catch up. The past doesn't equal your future, and what I know is that if you let it, it can dictate your future. And what we want to do is remember that even the best in the world, last night, I don't know, no spoilers, I don't know who won the game last night. World Series is coming on. I don't know who won, so don't tell me. Shh. Michael Jordan missed 9,000 shots as the best basketball player in the history of the world. Unless you consider Kobe.
No.
I'm just saying, I was an LA boy. All right, so I'm just saying, 9,000 shots missed. You understand that he can't live in the what he didn't do. The shot he missed is not in his mind. He's not living in, damn, I missed another one. I missed another one. I missed another one. Because if he does that, what's he going to do next? Not take the shots and miss what he does. So we have to understand, in fact, my favorite philosopher in the world is Ted Lasso. Anybody know who Ted is? And Ted told one of his players one day, he said, be like a goldfish. They got a 10-second memory. I missed. So what? What are you talking about? I forgot. So that's what you really need to be doing. And so here, write this down. This is one of my favorite things. And I want you to really get this at the heart level. And that is, life doesn't happen to you. We think we're victims of what's going on in the marketplace. But guess what? At the same time, other people are winning. It's not the market. Life doesn't happen to you, it happens through you. And actually, one could argue, if you want to go higher than that, life happens for you. Life happens for you. Can you go that far? It's like, all this stuff that happened is for me. Hey, listen, when Jim Rohn's wife wanted to run the company, I was running his company, I was devastated. I left the company, I couldn't handle it. I left the company and I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no job, nothing to do. And out of it started the largest training company in real estate. In the end, blessing, didn't see it when it was happening. Life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. Anybody have an experience like that? So let's talk about creating momentum, and then we'll get me off the stage and we'll get some of our great speakers up today. I want to talk about creating the big mo, because the momentum is the big deal. Listen, if you go into any sports environment, last night I'm sure probably I could point to that if I had known what the score is, and I don't want to know the score. But I can tell you the night before, right? Momentum. I can tell you if I watch basketball games. I remember when the Lakers, my team at that time, now I live in Dallas, my team at that time was playing against the Dallas Mavericks, and we were 29 points behind. I left the game. I'm like, who needs to stick around for this whipping? I'm in the car listening to the game, and you know they climbed back from 29 points down and won the game? Can you imagine, first of all, what an idiot to leave? But more importantly, can you imagine the momentum shift that had to occur? You watch a tennis player playing the US Open, and he makes a great shot. Yes! Pumps up. Gets the crowd going. Come on! It's momentum, folks. We're not in a solo sport. We have all kinds of ways to generate momentum. You're in the right crowd, being here. So let me go through this real quickly, because what you discover is that when you're born, you have a certain amount of potential. I can't tell you what it is. To me, it seems like it's unlimited, but let's pretend that it's limited even to some human qualities. You have potential, and the amount of potential that you tap into has a lot to do with the actions that you take. Does that make sense? I tap into a little momentum. I tap into a lot of action. I tap into a little amount of potential. I get small actions. If I tap into a large part of my potential, I get large actions. By the way, based on the actions that I take, what kind of results do I get? Small actions gets me what? Small results. Big actions gets me big results. And by the way, it's not just small and big, it's degrees, right, of success. And then, of course, with the results going on, then I say to myself, if I get bad results, I say, see, told you I wasn't any good at this, and it confirms my certainty that I wasn't good enough in the first place, or I didn't know how, or I'm not smart enough, or whatever it is I believe. And by the way, if I get great results, it does one of two things. It either motivates me to go, wow, I guess I am better than I thought, or see, I'm that good. And it depends on your original beliefs, but the fact is, our momentum is created in that, because now we're either spinning up or we're spinning down. How many are old enough to remember the song, when you're hot, and when you're not, you're not? Anybody here? Nobody besides me? That makes me feel really good. Thank you. She said 4 decades. That just makes me sound so old. That was not you, Nicole. That's future you. So, in the end, we then tap into more potential, because I'm feeling better about myself. I have more certainty. I know how to do this. I got this. I know this. When I tap into the certainty, then I tap into more potential, which creates greater action, which creates better results, which comes back to confirm one more time. We've got either a cycle going up or a cycle coming down, and your job is to figure out how to get it into this. Because that is where momentum is, and your future results will come from. That's where 2026 becomes the best year you've ever had. And I don't care what the market does. Indications are it may get way better, but who cares? Because it's not about the market, it's about what? It's not what happens, it's what you do. This is my last little diagram here, and I'll let you get to the other stuff that we're going to do today. Small thinking. We set small goals. I'm thinking small. I could just do 5, 6, 7 sales, 10 sales. Oh my gosh. I know people that are doing 10 sales a week. Why are we thinking so small? So who wants to jump on board? I'm saying, hey, listen, I'm going to build a business. I'm telling my wife, my husband, I'm going to build a business to do like 10 deals a year. You're like, woohoo. That's like saying, listen, marry me. We'll have an average couch and an average house, and we'll raise an average kid. Like, who wants that? On the other hand, of course, you look over and you say, what if I had a big, hairy, audacious goal, this BHAG, something beyond what I believe is possible, but that I believe I can do because I know I'm not tapping my full potential. By the way, how many are sure you're not tapping your full potential right now? How many are hoping this is not your full potential? Yeah, so what you come up with is that you realize that the small goal, if I have a big goal, big, hairy, audacious goal, and I share it with people, I'm like, this is what I'm doing. People go, I want to be part of that. That's super exciting. That's amazing. So if I have small goals, nobody wants part of it. If I have big goals, everybody wants to be part of it. Everybody wants to contribute. Everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to know you. Everybody wants to be around you. You're an influencer. And here's what I come back to is people say, well, unfortunately, I don't want to work that hard. And what I came to realize a long time ago is that it doesn't matter whether it's big goals or small goals. If you draw a line up from time and energy, it's the same exact amount of time and energy. Meaning, Bezos has only got 24 hours. He's not working harder than you. In fact, he may not be working nearly as hard as most of you. It's not the labor, it's not the time and energy. What is it? What's on the left-hand side? It's our vision and our thinking that creates our results. So are you thinking big or are you thinking small? Because ultimately, what I realize is vision is all of it. Our thinking is all of it. You think your results are based on the market, it has nothing to do with it. It has to do with your belief systems and the way that you're thinking today. And Tom Ziglar was here, last month? And Tom's dad, Zig Ziglar, used to say, it's your stinking thinking. Right? Your stinking thinking has got you where you are. And right now, today, we're building momentum by changing our thinking and then allowing the things that Stacy and Dawn, and I'm looking around for people, Tierney, wherever she is, I saw her, there she is. Tierney to pour into you, but you can't even accept that stuff. You can't even allow it to be true if your thinking is too small. Oh, that wouldn't work for me. That wouldn't work in my area. That wouldn't work for my clients. You got 1,000 excuses because your thinking is too small. So we're going to build momentum. What do we do to do that? We're going to start on January 1st. Does that sound like a plan? Let's start on January 1st. Let's get in the blocks and blast out of there on January 1st and watch what happens by January 10th. Woo-hoo! We'll be here on January 8th, by the way. Write that in your notes. We'll be in some form of action. By the March 17th, we'll be in full momentum. What did she say? It's 60 days to get your deals going on. 60, 90 days. So by the time you get to March, you're like, I'm finally in gear for 2026. Way too late. So what happens if you change that to October 29th? I'm not sure how that came out, like October. But October 29th is today. So October 29th is today, and if you have that going on for you, you're launching today, January 2nd, you're in full momentum. You're running at a feverish clip. By the time you get into September, you are flying for the whole year, and guess what? You just had your best year ever because you started on January 1st with real results that came from momentum that you're starting when? So here's my final thought for you this morning. I don't know if anybody saw he was in town. He now lives here. Nick Vujicic, do you know who Nick is? Amazing man. No, he was born with no arms and no legs. Has a little foot that is his arm, his hand. And they put him on a table to speak for the group I went to go see him just 3 weeks ago here in Dallas. Amazing story. If you think you got challenges, you think the market's off, talk to Nick. He said, keep moving ahead because action creates momentum. You're going to learn lots of action steps today. Your question is, am I going to take the actions? Which, by the way, in turn creates unanticipated opportunities. Do you understand that opportunities are there for all of us? Some of us don't see them. Some of us don't put ourselves in a position to accept them. Some of us don't put ourselves in a place to even notice them. Okay, I'm going to turn it over. Current Nicole, actual Nicole, get up here. I'll be back. I'll see you guys in this afternoon.
Great.
You know what? That's the way we started around here, right? Don's always getting our mindset in the right direction. So that was awesome, Don. Thank you. Next person we're going to bring to the stage is our first lead gen niche, Dawn Lawrence. She's amazing. A little bit about Dawn. After 30 years in engineering, Dawn brought her system-driven mindset to real estate, mastering the art of cold calling. Anybody in here cold call? Or is it just Dawn? Okay, we do have some people. She's mastered it. She creates a now business. If she wants a lead, she can go get it today. She knows she can get a lead today because all she does is pick up the phone, right? And by the way, she's brought a lot of value to share with you guys today, not only with what she's going to say, but she's sharing all of her scripts and dialogues with us today. We'll talk about how to get your hands on those later. But she focuses on expires, probates, and homeowners in transition. She proves that consistent action and structure turns conversations into closing. Dawn can pick up her business and go to anywhere in the country. You guys realize that, right? Because she knows how to generate listings regardless of where she's at, which is a superpower. Another thing that I personally admire and respect about Dawn is she is religious and non-compromising about her calendar. I will call her and ask her if we can do X, Y, or Z. She's like, well, I lead gen from 8 to 10 every single morning, so I can't do anything from 8 to 10. She does not compromise. You guys are in for a treat. Miss Dawn Lawrence.
Go, Don!
Okay, good morning. You guys, I was so excited to get up this morning. I hurried up and took a shower. I didn't even wash my hair because I wanted to get dressed so fast, just so I could wear a sweater. I love this fall weather. So yes, I have been cold calling from day one, started 5 years ago. Nicole said I was an engineer. I was also a project manager, so I brought that into my real estate. And I got to retire about a year into my real estate career. Although I did have a 10-year plan, God had a whole different plan for me. I did build my foundation on cold calling, but I have since layered on different types of lead generation. You are going to hear from amazing speakers today on different ways that you can lead generate. You just have to figure out what's best for you. And I'm doing notes here because I changed up my presentation because I wanted to be able to get as much information as possible in without rambling on. So why does they don't have my updated slide here. Why does lead generation matter? Here are a couple of things. It produces predictable income. You know, by lead generating every single day, I know that I'm going to have a closing sometime soon. I'm right now I'm in the best year I've had in almost the 5 years I've been in real estate. And that's because I've been religious and consistent with my lead generation tactics. And like I said, today you'll get different tactics. Just figure out what's best for you. Lead generation will really feel uncomfortable at first until it does. The consistency that you are going to put into your lead generation will become a habit and it won't feel so icky. So I really want you to think about lead generation as this. My first coach that I got licensed December 16, 2020, came to eXp January 14th of 21, and I found a coach January 30th. And he constantly was saying prospecting isn't a punishment, it's an opportunity disguised as an effort. All the effort that you put into your lead generation creates amazing opportunities for you. Okay, I have to remember to do both of them. Okay, so one of the biggest things is to figure out what works for you. Do you have more money than time? That might be your inbound prospecting. That will be your, I'm not creative at all. I have a YouTube channel, but I'm not very consistent at keeping it up, but I try. But that might be your social media, your YouTube, your creative self. I am an analytic. Things have to make sense. So that's why outbound calling works for me. These are your cold calls, your door knocking, anything that you are going out to try to get a lead, not leads coming into you. So outbound is if you have more time than money. And I have, like I said, I have layered both. I have layered both inbound and outbound prospecting together because that is the fastest way I've been able to grow my business so far. Okay. So lead funnels. If you think about a lead funnel as a funnel, your job as lead generation is to keep filling that funnel from the top, nurturing them down until they come out the bottom into closing. Take a picture of this. I think, Nicole, I think that you guys will all get these slides, but this is a great way to remember what and how to, your lead generation tactics, how they should run through your funnel. Your number one goals should be to create trust and authority in your lead generation tactics. I really am focusing on my 5 Mile Famous, which is my neighborhood. And I am constantly posting in my neighborhood Facebook groups just so they know that they can trust me and that I am the authoritative real estate figure within my area. There are a couple of other agents that live in the colony too, but they're a little bit further away, so I'm not taking any of their business, but there's plenty to go around for everyone. Okay. So, as I said, you have to figure out which approach fits best for you. Are you creative or are you analytic? Inbound, outbound. Ask yourself a couple of these questions, and there's a whole bunch of questions that you can ask yourself to try to figure out what is the best way for you to lead generate. Go to Chaz, that's my ChatGPT. Go to Chaz and just ask, here's my personality, here's my disc profile, what way would I be best at lead generating? Okay, sorry I'm going really fast, I just want to get to the nuts and bolts of this. Okay. One of the big things I learned also is to have 3 to 5 pillars of lead generation. I started out with expireds and cancels. I have layered on probate, and now I have layered on pre-foreclosures. So these are all basically I'm going out to get the business, except for now I've done such a good job at building my business. Business is coming to me. And that's why I had one of the best year in my real estate career so far. I work on neighborhood farming. Stacy's going to talk about that. I do a lot of events for clients, for Sphere, for my neighborhood. So I've layered on these different things. So I actually have like 7 lead pillars, but that's because I perfected one. Then I worked on the next one and perfected that. And that's how I built it. Okay. One of the things that I do every single day during my prospecting time, my cold calling is 8 to 10. So I prospect all day long on social media. I prospect my neighbors, but my cold calling is 8 to 10. I'm here today because they told me I had to be here. Otherwise, I promise you I'm not at a lot of these because my prospecting time is sacred to me. I track everything. I know how many calls I made. I know how many conversations I've had. I know how many appointments I've been on, I know how many, appointments I haven't been on that, they cancel or whatever, and I know how many, transactions I've done from the different types of lead generation. So I know where every single one of my transactions have come from and how it started. So track everything. Okay, so let's talk about expires. Expires are the most overlooked, misunderstood, and untapped opportunity in our MLS. Did you guys know in August of 2025, across the nation, we had 56,000 homes come off the market unsold? And in the last 7 days here in North Texas, we had almost 5,000 homes come off the market unsold. Talk about opportunity. So what that means to me is I have a business that I get to go out and get. These are big people that need my help, and they need your help too. So I'm gonna kind of show you really quickly some of my tactics. These are sellers, expireds are sellers who already raised their hands. And 40% of expireds will relist within the next 30 days because they have to. These are motivated homeowners. These are people who need your help. And right now, these homeowners don't need to be convinced of anything. They just need confidence that their home can be sold and that you're the one who can sell it, or that I'm the one who can sell it. Okay. Most likely, you're wondering, when should I call? When should I lead generate? Whatever that strategy is. Your lead generation should happen whenever you do it. I stick to a schedule. If I could pull up my schedule, you would see it's very strict. I have lead generation time, I have follow-up time, I have admin time, and that all goes back to my project management and engineering career. Thank you, God. With expireds, though, the early bird gets the worm is the case here. The very first person that somebody who just came off the market, whoever they talk to first, will most likely be the one that gets the deal from them. So the first contact is everything in calling expires. So I'm gonna go through really quickly the framework of how I do my scripts, and like Nicole said, you guys will get these scripts afterwards. And this framework should be in the scripts as well, so we'll give you a little bit more information on just what I'm giving here. So I use DART, which is desire, ability, reason, and timeline. That's me finding the motivation, why they need to sell the home. And then to handle objections, I use ARC, which is acknowledge, respond, and pivot. Every single call starts off the same thing. So they pick up, I say, hey Donna, this is Dawn. I'm a realtor here. Listen, before you hang up, I was hoping I could ask you a really quick question. Do you mind? I ask them if it's okay, number one, with the new rules and laws and all that kind of stuff. I think you have to get their permission to continue with the call. Then I also am letting them believe that they're the ones in charge when it's really me. If you go in with mindset is everything. If you go in with the mindset is these people need my help. I don't need their business. It really will help you. Okay. So let's talk about ARC. Acknowledge, respond, and pivot. So I introduced myself. They said, yeah, go ahead. I usually get a laugh or a giggle or something. I wasn't cracking up on you. Most people do, but that's okay. One of the biggest questions, especially right now, is, well, what would you do differently than my last realtor did? So ARPing is you're acknowledging the question. Well, that's a great question, Donna. Honestly, if I were you, I'd be wondering the same thing. Well, Donna, honestly, I have no idea what your previous realtor did, and maybe that's why we should meet right now, and so we can go through my strategy for getting your home sold in this market. Do you have tonight at 4? Is 5 better for you? So you see, I acknowledge the question, That's a great question. I responded, and honestly, I do the same thing, and then I completely pivoted away from answering what I would do differently. Because really, I don't know what I would do differently, because I don't know what they did, but it gets their mind off of wondering exactly what I would do. Now, I do have if they really dig into, making me answer, I do have an 8-week marketing plan that I can talk about. And I do have different strategies for getting homes sold in this market, even though right now it's about 93 days for a listing from the time it goes on the market to the time it closes, which is a very long time. Okay. And I think we'll have questions later too, right? So I'm not going to dig any more into this, but this is kind of this is handling objections. This is how you handle objections: acknowledge, respond, and admit. So the next one is DART. This is finding their motivation for why they want to sell. So I'm going to read this here. This is a little bit easier right here. So got it, Donna. Just curious, if you had sold, were you planning to stay local or were you moving away altogether? This is a question that if you're already into the conversation, people are so willing to answer. Well, they respond, I'd be moving to Florida to be closer to my grandkids. And as a grandmother, I get super excited about that. So my response is always, well, that's amazing. Grandkids are the best reason to move. So were you ready to just pick up and move as soon as your home sold? So that is asking, are they able to move right away? Some people are saying, no, I need to sell my house because, I need to move closer to my grandkids. I was really hoping it wouldn't sell till after Christmas. So that's digging into the ability and their readiness. The reason is really their motivation. I typically ask questions like, this time around, if your home sells, is your issue, is it timing? Is it netting the most money in your pocket? Or is it just being done with the home? This will really hone in on they want to move with their grandkids, but what do they want out of the sale of their home? And then of course, timing, out of curiosity, Donna, when were you hoping to get the home sold and move? Were you trying to stay until after Christmas? Were you trying to sell before school started? Were you trying to sell within 30 days so that because you have another new build being built out in Salina or someplace. So asking these types of questions really hones in on the motivation of why they actually want to sell the home. So DART is the motivation, and ARP is the objection handlers. And again, these here will be on the scripts, and there's a bunch more responses. This is just one response that you can use. Okay. One of the biggest things I did when I first got into real estate is I was forcing everybody into my database. And I learned very quickly you can do that. So when I'm lead generating, I make sure that the people that are going into my database are really a lead. If they check all 5 of these boxes, then they go into my database. Clear motivation, I use DART. Define timeline, that's also in DART. I always ask, so Mr. Seller, are you obligated to your previous agent or are you open to interviewing other agents? And the reason why I ask this is, first of all, I want to know, are they still in contract? But more importantly, I want to put the little bug in their brain to make them think, well, yeah, interviewing other agents, that means a second opinion. Maybe they can do something that my first agent didn't do. So that just opens them up to actually interviewing other agents. Sorry. Then while we're talking, I always say, well, what I would love to do is I would love to shoot you over my resume so that you can know a little bit more about me, because there's a ton of great information in my resume and things that I can do to help you. What's the best email for you? I got their email. I already got their phone number because I'm talking to them, so now I got their email. So that means they're great to go into my database. That they're gonna get my emails, they're gonna get my texts, and I know that they have motivation. Okay. So the other big thing that I learned right away is I got on the phone and just started cold calling. I had no idea what my business would look like. What I quickly found is I got a lead, now what do I do with it? I have now implemented such a great follow-up system that, well, in number one, when I first got into real estate 5 years ago, it was like 12 touches before somebody converted. Now it's 28.87 touches before somebody converts into a willing and able participant in a real estate transaction. So now my follow-up system is all within 1 day. I have a good conversation. I send them my resume while we're on the phone, because what I have found is when I send the resume, it may go to junk. So I make them check their email right when I'm on the phone. I immediately also say, I'm going to send you a text with all my contact information, and in the text is all my contact information, my little blank card. But I also remind them to look in their junk mail to see if my resume is there or not. We get off the phone, I write a handwritten note to mail to them. I send a video text, and I use BombBomb so I can see if they looked at it or not. Hey, Mr. Seller, great speaking with you today. I look forward to, whatever we talked about. They immediately go into my database, which means they'll immediately get my weekly emails, my monthly text, and whatever else I send from my follow-up boss. Now, pro tip number 1, social media. Here's something I do, and this has been quite fun. I get off the phone, and in my follow-up boss, they can help me identify if they're on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. So I go into social media, Tony, you may want to plug your ears. I go into social media and basically stalk them. I go in, find a reason to like a post, comment on that post, say it's a picture of them walking the dog. I will then slide on into the DMs and say, hey, that's a cute puppy. What do you name it? Or her, him, or the. And you want to ask a question that they will respond to, because what that does is it creates the algorithm so that now you're going to start showing up on their social media feeds. That's the DM. If it is a hot lead, I will go door knock. And when I door knock, I don't necessarily really door knock, but what I do is I have an unforgettable CMA. So this is pro tip number 2. My CMA is not just the CMA. I have a 2-inch by 9 by 12 box that is completely personalized to me. On the top is my picture all over, my contact information around the sides of my contact information. In the inside is testimonials, information about me, and I fill it with stuff. I really only I go to RPR and create what's going on in their neighborhood. That's my CMA for them, so they know today what's going on in their neighborhood. But it's filled with my resume. It's just got a ton of stuff in there. I guarantee you, after all these follow-up, they're not gonna forget who I am. And sometimes I've been told on my follow-ups, I've been told, why don't you go get a real job? There's a corner down the street, why don't you go there? Great idea, why don't you meet me there, we'll talk about getting your home sold. Yeah, there's some really yucky people out here. Okay. So you've made the calls, you've followed up, and now you have the appointment. The most important thing you can do on expired appointments is to review their old listings. Look at the pictures. Look at the transaction desk. Were there documents in there, upgrades on the house? Were there the mud or the pig, or were they missing? Were there room measurements? Look at the description of the home. Zillow, get with your title company. I just got training on Zillow and ChatGPT, and for somehow, Zillow is only going to allow descriptions that fit the Zillow standard. There's a bunch of stuff behind that, but get with your title company, a lot of them are already trained on what Zillow, ChatGPT, and the descriptions. But look at the description. Now, you had a conversation with them, and you keep notes in any subsequent conversation you've had. You know what their pain points were. The agent never communicated with me. I never got feedback. We never even had showings. And the list goes on and on. So you know what the pain points are. When you go to this appointment, you are going to have a resolution for every single one of them. I have a weekly marketing update that you will get from me regardless if there's an update or not. And in this update is everything about your house, feedback, days on market, everything. But also you're going to see what's happening around you, and then you're going to know the interest rate. There's just a ton of information in my weekly market update that you're going to get from me. That is a huge value add. So you're not going to have a problem with no feedback. You're not going to have a problem with no communication because you're going to get this every single week from me. Bring a pre-listing package. If you did not have a chance to drop off a pre-listing package the day before, and here's where I drop off when I get the appointment, I always drop off my pretty box full of stuff. Know your value. If you don't know what your value is, you need to go figure it out. When I first got into real estate, for a couple of years, I was like, okay, my value proposition is I'm a great communicator. I'm a project manager, so I'm going to treat it like a project. It was just those kinds of things. But now I know what people's pain points have been and continue to be. Now I really focus on my value proposition as me. I guarantee you, nobody communicates like I do. On Monday, you're going to have so much information, and then on Friday when we have our call, you're going to get even more. The biggest thing right now is marketing. I have an 8-week marketing plan. I used to give it to the sellers, but I don't anymore because they gave it to a different agent. So they get to see every single week, every single day what I'm doing for them in marketing. And that's just the basics. I also have a flexible terms, which is my no handcuff listing agreement. Basically, we all do. You can get out of a listing agreement with an agent, kind of easy. But I guarantee them that if you feel like I'm not doing my job the way that we agreed to, you can fire me. Just give me 48 hours to get it out of the MLS. But you will owe me marketing, pictures, photos, drones, video, and anything else that I paid for already. My goal is always, always to walk out with a signed agreement. Even if they're still on the fence, well, Mr. Sauer, why don't we do this? You like everything I said about the value I bring. You like what I said about listing your home and how we're gonna list it, right? Why don't you go ahead and sign? And remember, I have my no handcuff listing agreement. So go ahead and sign, and if you find somebody who's better, which I guarantee you won't, you can walk away from me, no problem. So my goal is to get that listing agreement signed, and every time I've done that, nobody has ever canceled. Okay. This business is built by habits. Nothing is accidental. Going back to Don's actions, the actions you're taking every single day create a habit. And this is one of my favorite sayings. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. A couple of years ago, I had no idea what systems were. Today, I know exactly what systems are. They're the text message you get, they're the emails you get, they're the follow-up that you get from me. They're during the transaction, everything. I have 173 checkpoint throughout my listings. That means I have 173 actions that I need to take from the time I set the listing appointment to after we close. This has become a habit for me, and my systems are in place. The biggest thing in real estate is to be consistent. I mean, hopefully you'll hear that throughout the day. Consistency is the key in real estate. Okay, so just to recap, Again, be consistent. Track every action, because if you're not tracking your action, you're really not doing it. You're not going to have a clue how what is helping you and what is failing for you. So it's so important to track. Build your pipeline intentionally. Every action you take, be intentional. Be purposeful. Follow up with purpose. Have a plan in place on how you're going to follow up. Don't just say, hey Stan, thinking about you today, or hey Stan, wanted to check in. That's not a follow-up. That's just saying hi. Have an abundance mindset. There's so much business here for all of us.
Great.
Yeah, there's so much business here for all of us. We help each other. Some of my girls with Grit are here. We help each other. We help each other with listing. We share listings. Can we do an open house for you? What can I do to help you get your listing sold? We help each other. So have that mindset. Okay. So my team name is Elevated Realty Group with a pretty pink crown. So I'm letting you all know that you all already wear your crown. So act like it. Call to action. Every single day, Monday through Friday, build in your schedule 60 minutes of lead generation. If that's just on social media, whatever it is, whatever your lead generation tactic is, do 60 minutes a day of it right now. And then like Nicole said, come January 1st, watch where you're at. 90 days down the road, watch where you're at. This time next year, you're gonna have the best year of your career if you build in lead generation time. Make sure you have 3 to 5 lead pillars, and make sure you can dominate them. Scripts, implement and practice if you're going to cold call. If you're going to be on social media, have a plan of how you're going to show up on social media. And of course, build your follow-up plan before you even pick up the phone to make that first call, before you send out a text to say, hey, we're going into winter, change your filter. If they respond back to you, and if they're not in your database, if they go in your database, make sure you have a follow-up plan so that they will come into your funnel and eventually convert with you. And I think that's it. That's it.
I always have mad respect for people that make calls, y'all. I mean, how long did it take you to get over and you have the fear that you had before you got
So the crazy thing is, it's like going to the gym. I don't feel like going to the gym, but I promise if you go for 5 minutes, your mind will change. You make that one phone call, the next one is so much easier.
I know, it's that first call. I can attest to that. Okay, thank you, Don. We're gonna try to kind of catch up on some time here. If we have time for a panel after all these speakers, we're gonna allow you guys to do some Q&A, because I know I have several questions for Don, for example. But if we don't, you have their contact information, reach out to them. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to jump on a call with you and answer questions that you have. So our next speaker, she is a badass powerhouse. Terry Jordan, broker associate with eXp Realty, leading an international real estate organization and inspiring agents around the world. She's a multi-icon, award winner, millionaire real estate agent, and the creator of 20 listings in 30 days. It's a system that she kind of patented and created. She's built a reputation for turning action into achievement. And in 2024, she was featured on the Kelly Clarkson show. I don't know if y'all saw that. I saw that. Alongside her husband and 5 daughters. Y'all, they have a basketball team that's in their family. It's an all-star 5-pro basketball team. It's amazing. But they showcase their journey her journey as a mother and mentor on there, and she's just a market leader who proves success and family can coincide. So, love her to pieces. It's Tierney Jordan.
All right, guys, we are going to move fast, and I'm going to warn you because I have a lot of slides. But I just want to give a lot of value, so I'm going to stand here so we can go through. All right, so I wanted to focus on sellers, and I wanted to focus on making my time as useful as possible. So I really, to me, lead generation or bringing leads to me could be done through online. So that's what I built. I started generating leads online in 2011. So my first 3 years in the business, I had a 13-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a 5-month-old. So this all was done collaboratively, to say the least. I didn't want to have a great business and miss out on my time with my family. Okay. So you can see, can you guys see? When I decided to make the shift to sellers from 2015 to 2016, 376 to 7 figures in 1 year. That's my tax return, right? And it was really that shift and focusing on sellers. 2015, I did 17 buyers, 10 listings. The next year, 23 buyers, 56 listings. I'm going to share my system with you. These are some agents that have used my proven process. Benisha's now a 7-figure earner. Rosemary was a full-time teacher, went to 6 figures in 1 year with my system. Ola, she earned 6 figures in 6 months. This was her commission. All right, so here's the 5-step proven process. 1, you got to identify your target market. 2, solve, don't sell. 3, pick your platform. 4, establish trust. And I've turned this into a triple close method right now in this market, so we'll go through all of these steps. Step 1, how to identify your target market. I'm going to start my timer here. So this is what I do, you guys. This is practical. Everybody can do this. I go into the MLS. I click on close. I do 0 to 30. I put in different cities that I work, and I look at, number 1, the amount of transactions that have sold in that city, okay? Because I want to spend money on areas that have a lot of transactions. So you can see like McKinney compared to Plano. I then do a quick CMA on those results, okay? I'm looking at key indicators. The key indicators that I look at are median days on the market. I want the money to move quick too, okay? So I want a lot of closings and I want low days on the market. I also want a high sales price to list price percentage. Why? Because that tells me there's demand in that area. Another thing that I want to do is I want a high median sales price, because that high median sales price, I'm going to show you when you market on Google, on average, a seller lead costs about $1,200 a lead, but a buyer lead could be anywhere from $10 to $20 a lead. So if I market in an area where there's a high median sales price, are those going to be first-time home buyers typically? No. So they're probably going to have a house to sell, right? All right, so when you do this process, you go through your MLS, you're looking for these key indicators, you want to create a hit list. So create your top 5 cities, and then you're going to go to Google Trends to help you. So Google Trends is going to give you some background on that area. You're also going to go into Google Ads, okay? So you can go there by going to ads.google.com. And there's a free keyword tool planner there. You want Google to tell you what people are typing in for that city when they're searching. Google's the #1 search engine. There's over 92 billion searches every month on Google. You're going to keep it simple with Google. Is everybody good? Because you guys are looking like, is everybody good? Are y'all following me? Okay. So you're going to put the city name plus the word homes. Keep it simple and let Google tell you what people are searching for. So if I typed in, I don't have my glasses on, but if I typed in McKinney Homes, for example, Google's going to tell me everything that people type in, and I'm going to use those keywords, okay? You can also use TubeBuddy if you're going to do video. TubeBuddy is similar to the keyword tool analyzer, but it's for YouTube. That is a Chrome extension, so you have to have Chrome in order to use TubeBuddy. All right, so that was step 1. That's how we're going to identify our target market. I did that in 3 minutes. Step 2, solve, don't sell, okay? So What does NAR tell us that sellers want from us? Do you guys know? Anybody know? Top 3 things. Number one, the number one thing that sellers want their listing agent to do for them is to market their property to buyers. So when you get in front of a seller, you need to demonstrate, not tell, demonstrate how you're going to market their property to buyers. Okay? NAR also tells us where buyers found the house that they purchased. So I can use that chart and I can demonstrate how I'm going to get their house in front of these buyers. These are some of the things that we do. So we show that we're going to create a single property website. We're going to do professional photography. We're going to do an SEO optimized title and description. Where could I get the SEO optimization? From the keyword tool planner, right? Because it gives me all the words that people are typing in. And I could print that out for a specific seller and put that into my presentation, right? Very simple, easy. We also do a single property website. So we're demonstrating, we're showing them what the single property websites look like that we create. And this just came from our CRM. Very simple. We didn't create these websites. You could use lovable.dev to create one for you in minutes. We also integrate and we show that we integrate Google Maps because 1 in 8 buyers in the state of Texas are international buyers. So you might want to write that down because a lot of people don't know that. We do complimentary light staging. We have a whole process to get the house ready for buyers. We show them our professional photography because most people, that chart that I showed you guys, they start their search online. People like eye candy, right? So the house has to look good. This is one of our listings. This was another one. We do community features. We do video. Video is going to increase the click-through rate by 65 to 95%. This is just a sample. So when I show search engine optimization, if I was going on a listing for a property that had land, this is TubeBuddy's results. I could say, hey, Mr. Seller, look, we're going to market to all these people online. We've been doing this since 2011, and there are 10,000 to 100,000 searches for land for sale in Texas, right? Every 30 days. We're going to make sure we get your house in front of all those buyers. We show our online marketing dashboard. Does anybody recognize where this is from? This is my exclusive online marketing dashboard. Does anybody know where this is from? List Track. We all have access to this. Okay, so it's when you log into Netris, there's a little icon that says List Track. You can go in there for all of your listings and you can show and do your weekly follow-ups and show the seller where the buyers are coming from. This is another exclusive report that we create for our sellers, and it's our online analytics report proving online exposure. Does anybody recognize this? This is a tool that everybody has access to. This is another report through ListTrack, okay? We do reverse prospecting. Reverse prospecting has helped us so much, you guys. We've sold so many properties just through reverse prospecting, and we show this, okay? So this is through MLS. You can go in, you have to have a listing to do this, but you'll click on your listing, you'll click the button that says reverse prospect. It's gonna list all the realtors. What percentage of buyers find the house that they purchased through a realtor? How many? 87? Is that what you said? Yeah. Anybody else have a guess? So it's about 30%. So 50% comes from online, 30% come from realtors. So 80% is through online or realtors. So we have to make sure we're marketing for buyers online for our listings and to the realtors. So MLS gives us a list of all the realtors who have an automatic search set up that fits your criteria, okay? So I call and I text them all because they can set up the automatic email, but it could have gone to their client spam. So you just need to make sure they know about it. And I show, like this I sent to a seller, like, hey, these are all the realtors. These are my texts to all the realtors about the property. All right, the number 2 thing sellers want their listing agent to solve for them is to price competitively. You have to be able to price or else your listing's gonna sit, okay? I price ahead of the market. That means I price lower than what things sold for previously because the market is softening, okay? I use a quick formula. This is some of the things, I'm gonna give this to Nicole because I've sold a lot of properties. I've been licensed since 2006. I used to do a lot of REOs, so I was getting my listings based on the price that I told the banks and what they sold for. So I have a whole price like an appraiser and how to make adjustments. But the biggest thing that you want to do, you want to look at proximity, stay within the same subdivision. You want to stay within 25% plus or minus of the subject property square footage. 33% plus or minus of the subject property's age, and then you want to stay within 60 days, okay, in terms of sold date. Seasonality is another thing to consider. Are we going into a slower time? I know Don alluded to it as he was talking about what the market's doing. It's slower, right? So take into consideration when you're pricing what season we're going into, not what we came out of. And then look at your active and coming soon. So how much competition is out there? Because that's going to impact your pricing. If there are 10 other listings in that same neighborhood, you've got to price a little bit lower. Okay. I'm just skipping through so I can stay on time. All right, so once we get the listings, we are providing, we take the weekly feedback from showings. We make sure that we get it from everybody. We also pull in that list track report that I showed you. We're gonna do a cloud CMA as well. And then we pull that all into ChatGPT. And we say, ChatGPT, we have a high D seller, we give the disc personality, we upload that information. How can I tell them what we need to do in terms of pricing of the property? And we are reviewing the price weekly on our listings. So this is the prompt if you guys want to take a picture of it. All right, do this weekly until the property sells. All right, step 3, pick your platform. I'm a Google girl. I've been a Google girl since 2011. Most people start their search online. Most people start on Google. I didn't want to cold call. No disrespect to you, my dear. I didn't want to door knock because this was taking time away. I got 5 kids. I had 4 babies when I first got in the business, right? 3 years, 4 kids. My first 3 years in the business. I didn't want to rely on my sphere of influence. I didn't want to feel like I was begging for business. Google gives instant results. I do pay to be seen, but that has helped me to build organic and past clients and stuff too. These are the most impactful things that we have marketed online that gets the most results for us. So sell your house as is for cash. This is the most expensive one. This is going to cost you about $1,200 a lead. So it's cost per click. When you go in and you look, the cost per click, sell my home is going to cost you about $120 a click. It takes about 10 clicks to a lead. So that's where I get the $1,200 from. So that's what this will cost you. This is how you can market online for sellers. A more economical approach would be, what's my home worth? So if somebody types in sell my home, that's pretty much a guaranteed seller. What's my home worth? Not necessarily, but you're going to get some sellers out of it. That can cost you, you see it says I think that says 11. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see, but it's about $120 a lead for this one, okay? And I send them to a landing page. It's simple. They go on to get their property value. I do a 2-step process. The first step is I collect their address, okay? I don't give them their report right away. I collect their address. Then I ask for their contact info to give them the report, okay? I do have a system to collect the partial data. So I can show you here. So 36,000, I have 36,000 sellers that didn't give me their contact info, just their address. But I have a reverse lookup system to find it. I have 18,000 sellers that gave me their contact info. So if I didn't have that two-step process, I would be missing out on 36,000 sellers. Okay, this is the most economic approach. Okay, you find an area that has a high average sales price. I market a lot in Windsong Ranch. Windsong Ranch is hot. If you go on Google's keyword tool analyzer, you'll see there's a lot of search there. I create a single property, single lander, okay, for the community. The background is just an image of what's a feature that people want to be in Windsong Ranch, the lagoon. And then they click on it to get information. A lot of people think we're the builder. So we get a lot of good leads from that. This is our pop-up, and feel free to take a picture of that if you'd like. Got to move fast, guys. Oh, Nicole said they're going to share. So you want to, step 4 is get them to like, know, and trust you, right? So we're going to solve problems. We're not going to sell. I do a lot of past client video testimonials. I don't have time to go through these, but I'll just give you a little short clips.
In 2 hours. We sold it the first time for a cash deal with Jimmy Jordan.
So I do clips and I let people see what it's like to work with me from other clients. So make sure you're taking videos of past clients. She was gonna list it herself for sale by owner. So they're selling me, okay? Video is gonna increase connection. If someone consumes at least 3 seconds of your video, you increase their purchase choice intent by 40%. If someone consumes at least 10 seconds of your video, you increase their purchase choice intent by 70%. So it's critical how you start your videos off. Don't start off, hey, this is Tierney. I'm starting off with my hook. Through my keyword tool analyzer, I'm using keyword-rich information and content in my videos. So here's the structure of your video. You want to sell your house fast? That's the hook. And this video is hook. Do you want to sell your house fast? Right? That's a hook. Don't overcomplicate it, guys. Look at me. I'm using my phone. I don't even have a stick. I'm talking about a community that's heavily sought after for the keyword tool analyzer information, okay? This is our presentation. I'm gonna scroll through it pretty quickly, but I edify myself on the beginning of my presentation. I was featured on the American Dream TV show, which was broadcast on ABC, NBC, Fox, and CBS. I've been featured on the Kelly Clarkson show, D Magazine, Cover of Real Producers. I put all this stuff out there. So whatever you have, put it in the beginning of your presentation, front load it. I show how quickly I sell properties, right? My days on the market, 21 days. What was that one? 18 days, 15 days. These are all recent sales. My stuff moves quick, right? Because I price right, I establish trust, and I review everything weekly with my clients. So the pricing is critical, you guys. Feel free to go to 20listingsin30days.com if you want my full presentation. That's my handle if you want to follow me, and that's it.
You did great. You did great. Give it up for Tierney. You did great. Yeah, and don't feel bad if she said something or any of the speakers say something and you miss it. We're gonna be giving you everything. You can always also go back and watch it. So you'll have a playback of this, you'll have all the slides, also like Dawn's script or the PDF for that. So we'll have more info on that for you guys before we wrap up today. Next speaker. Have it ready to go. Stacy Leslie, she's back by popular demand, y'all. We had her, I think, towards the beginning of the year, and she was a fan favorite. So she's just also just packed with great information with over 450 million in sales. That's a number. 450 million in sales achieved through referrals and reputation. Stacy Leslie is known for her integrity, discretion, and client-first approach. a former marketing entrepreneur who sold her agency to a Fortune 500 company, Stacy brings strategic vision and branding expertise to every single transaction. Today, she leads an all-woman, woman power, real estate team and continues to empower women and families through mentorship, philanthropy, and leadership. She is awesome. We love her so much. Stacy, welcome to the stage.
All right, I have to say I have a guy on the team, Caleb.
Okay.
Good job, Caleb. All right, we're gonna be talking about farming. I think on this one, so I just hit the next button. Oh no, am I going the wrong way? There we go. Okay, so the way I've kind of built my team that I have, we have a very powerful team. So this year, I only have 7 agents, and we're gonna be right around 82 million. So that's heavy. Everybody pretty much does 10 million or more. So think about your numbers. And we built this off of farming. So I'm gonna show you how I turned just one neighborhood in the Dallas-Fort Worth area into 170 plus sales a year. So pick a neighborhood, and you can do the same. So step one, well, pick a neighborhood. Number 2, you're gonna get connected. If the neighborhood does not have a Facebook page, make one yourself. You can be the owner of the Facebook page for that neighborhood. The neighborhood I picked was the Tribute in the Colony. So literally, I believe the Facebook page name is the Tribute in the Colony is the Facebook page. And there's, I believe, like 6,000 members now. I don't actually run that page. Somebody had started it first. So the reason there's 6,000 members is when I moved in, there was 150 homes. And I worked for a brokerage that told me you will never sell a home in there. It's a brand new neighborhood. Nobody's gonna be moving anytime soon. Now there's 2,800 homes, 6,000 members on the Facebook page because when they move out, they're allowed to stay on the Facebook page. So they're moving out to other parts of Dallas-Fort Worth area, but they're still on the page getting all my marketing information. The next thing I did is I started implementing free ideas. When I got into marketing, my belief was, my father's an ex-banker, and my belief was, don't spend money you don't have. So I'm like, how can I market for free? So I just started really getting my wheels turning. My background is marketing, yes, for a marketing company, but it was direct marketing, mailers, and analyzing people's databases. It wasn't events and other things like that. So I really had to start thinking what to do. I do have, I'll send it to you guys later and share it with you. I have a list of 100 free marketing ways that you can market yourselves for free. You don't have to go spend a bunch of money and buying Zillow ads and all of that. And we are more of a passive sales team. We don't buy a single lead. We do this much in volume without buying any leads. Everything has turned into referrals and our database that we've collected over time. But some of the things that I've done is, back in the beginning, I would go to the grocery store and I would buy little pumpkins. The very first year I did it, I think I was able to afford like 50 pumpkins at $1 a piece. And at Halloween, I did a little tiny pumpkin patch where the neighbors could come out and the kids could pick a pumpkin. And I could sit and talk to the parents while their kids are in the pumpkin patch picking out a free pumpkin, $50. And I would go to my local title company or lender and I'd have them pay the $50. So all of our events now, we don't hardly ever spend a dime. We just did the fall festival for the Tribute. It's grown a lot. We now bought, what do we have, like 400 pumpkins, all paid for from our title vendors. We also now do, I have a warehouse full of stuff now. Somehow I'm the owner of a popcorn machine and we do caramel apples now, and it's just kind of grown over the years, but it started out very small. So we also do caramel apples. That's super easy to do at Halloween for an event in your neighborhood. We literally buy apples, and to make it easy, I'm not making caramel apples. We cut it into pieces, put it in a bowl, and put caramel on top and give it to the kids for free. And the line is so long to get caramel apples, and you gotta take advantage of it. You're not just giving away a caramel apple, you want them to stay in line so that you can talk to all of the parents while the kids are eating their caramel apples. So the key is to get people talking. Another one that I'm doing right now in the neighborhood is a Halloween house decorating contest. This is so cheap and easy, and I brought one of the signs. These are $3 a piece. And currently in the tribute, there are 64 homes. We are on our 8th year, a Halloween house decorating contest. You literally just post on social media. I think I've got a picture of this somewhere. You're literally gonna post that, here's the big one. That's Texas. It was on the first one. Here's some of our events that we do. So, first one in the corner is the pumpkin patch. You can see how busy it gets. We literally got like 1,000 people now at the pumpkin patch. The next one, Christmas, gingerbread houses. We sell houses. So we give all of our customers a gingerbread house. I get them from Central Market for like $10 a piece. And I give them a little stuff to decorate and I drop it off at their houses. Let me tell you, drop off a gingerbread house to a family and they are your client forever. I can't even tell you how many of our clients that we've sold 5, 6 homes to now, all because of the gingerbread house. They come back and tell us. We've done pet rocks that live in a house, and we give them a little cardboard house and a rock. You know how much it is to buy rocks? It's free. There is the tribute October Yard of the Month and the house decorating. It's free to go on the Facebook page and say, hey, we're running a house decorating contest. If you want to enter your house, post it here. The other thing with social media is get people to post. They are self-promoting you. So every single person is posting their house. People are then liking it. They're boosting your post. My post has been at the top of the tribute page for an entire month now of people excited to go drive by all of the houses that are decorated. And then we make a map and post that. Here's the map. If you want to go out on Saturday and take your kids looking at all the houses that entered, here's where they're located in the neighborhood. And then each house, when they enter, gets a sign in their yard. So I have 20 homes for sale in the tribute right now, but I have 64 homes that have this sign in their yard right now that says the agency and the tribute. And just make these little Velcro, so each year I can reuse them, and whatever number they are, I stick it in the yard. And then just yesterday, we picked the finalists. So out of the 64 homes, I did another post. Here's our 10 finalists. And to vote, you just have to like the picture, and to get somebody a second vote, you have to type the word favorite. So now I have 6,000 people voting on 10 pictures, and just constantly keeping me at the top of the tribute Facebook page. And all of that is free, except for these were $3 a piece, and I'm on my 8th year using them. So there's so many ideas you can have out there to become the expert in your neighborhood. Dawn had talked on this then, again, free. You start becoming the expert in that neighborhood. So what all do we know and have connections on that are free? Painters, roofers, you need to remodel your kitchen, bathrooms, where do I get my curtains from? You name it, you have become the expert. Watch the neighborhood posts, because people are asking all the time, hey, does anybody have a good lawn care person? Mine just left. Now, it used to be that I would hurry up and go on and post. Now I get tagged. Stacy, who do you recommend? Stacy, who do you recommend? Did you ask Stacy who you should go to for that? You become the expert in the neighborhood. And it just starts to build. And all of that it's free for you guys. And it's a passive way to market yourself. So when you become the expert that way, when it's time to sell their house, guess who they're going to call? They're going to end up calling the neighborhood expert. So most of our leads actually come through privately Facebook Messenger. And I have to have a VA now that checks it because I don't check it enough. But they literally will send me a private message asking to list their home. It's just a different way to market. So I listed some ideas. We do cocoa and caroling. Again, it ends up being free because I asked the neighborhood, anybody want to sing for cocoa and caroling? So the neighbors are the ones signing up to be our carolers. We provide a horse-drawn carriage to take people out and look at Christmas lights, and it's turned into a huge, massive festival every year. It's probably our biggest event every year. We do hot cider, we do the popcorn machine, the movie Frozen's playing. It's just built and built and built over time, but it started off free and small. Golf cart decorating contest. If it's a neighborhood that has golf carts, that's free. Hold a golf cart decorating contest around the 4th of July. Hey, decorate your golf carts, bring them out for the 4th of July. We'll have a parade that you can meet, we'll judge, and there'll be a winner. And the winner gets like a $100 gift basket. And the title company paid for it. It was super easy. I didn't even have to do any work. Everybody else brought their golf carts decorated. So there's so many ideas that you can implement with farming. I keep going the wrong way. Okay, another big event that I do that's free is I made another page called the Tribute Tax Masters page. You guys all have access to this. You're all professionals in your field. Running comps in the state of Texas to help people fight their property taxes is free to do for you. And is one of the biggest things you can do for a homeowner. So we made a page. This was 2025's post. It's that time property tax notices hit the mail today, April 17th. The agency, eXp Realty Group, is ready to help you for the 11th year for free. The sign up is listed below. I just made a sign up in Google. Once you sign up, comment following. Why do I do that? Because when they sign up on the Google page, it doesn't boost my post. So I just ask them to type following down below to keep my post at the top of the page. And you'll notice I had 205 people comment. So this stayed up again for like an entire month because of 205 people commenting. And it reached 792 people. Then they're gonna receive an email with their number to watch in line. And then I do another post that says now serving, because it takes a long time. We now do about 500 comps for people a year to help them fight their property taxes. And we say just ask for your patience as we do this outside of our jobs and family time in the evenings, and we are doing it for free to give back to the community that helps provide for our families through work. We've been able to give everyone every year, even after the last year doing over 800 total in DFW. Each one takes 15 to 30 minutes. So you kind of just play into them. We're still family, we still have kids, we're doing this for free. People start to get greedy. They're like, I gave you my address yesterday, and you haven't sent me my comps, and I want to go to the Denton County Tax Appraiser's office. I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing this for free, and I do have a job. I'm trying to help you. But here's some of what people say. Literally this year, Casey Zander, I don't even know who she is, made this logo of our team and said, not all heroes wear capes, they fight with comps instead. Thank you for looking out for us. Huge thank you to Stacy, Leslie, and team for once again providing comps needed to successfully protest our property values. We were able to get our appraised market value down $61,000. That is the hugest testimonial you can get, and it was free for me to do, and it took 15 minutes of my time. The very first year I did this, I think we ended up closing 24 deals from me taking a week of doing comps for people. So those 24 deals ended up being like $400,000 in revenue. I get agents all the time like, why would I go do this for people and spend my time? If you market it right and you do the right steps, they will come back. It's more passive. It takes a little bit more time because you got to wait until they're ready to sell their house. But I can guarantee if you save them money on their taxes, who is the first person they're going to call to help sell their house? So that's huge and free to do, and it's every spring in Texas. That's probably the biggest farming tip that I can give you guys. You need to walk the fine line on how and when to post. You don't want to be posting all the time, and you got to kind of post fun things and then business things. Stay neutral. I don't know how many. So the neighborhood I live in has 75 plus realtors that live in the neighborhood. But I can guarantee that over half of them some of them have been opinionated on the Facebook page. That's gonna knock you right out. If you're political, you've already lost half of your audience, depending on what side you go. Be intentional and not nosy. And again, don't spend money you don't have, you don't need to. And just have a servant's heart. Every time I think of this into a pumpkin patch, yes, I wanna sell homes, but I want to give back to the community too. Instead of doing a postcard that cost me $1,200, I would rather give $500 worth away of pumpkins and get to talk to every single parent. And just use your skills and your talents and your abilities to farm a neighborhood. And I think that's everything. And then I just posted a couple of the private messages I get, just saying, hey Stacy, are you taking new listings in the Tribute? No, let me go find you somebody. Good morning. Yes, it's not a big deal really. My neighbor that lives across the street wants me to introduce the two of you. She's planning to list her home sometime, and I said you were great. And that house we just currently listed, that was last week. So, and because that neighbor doesn't use Facebook, but the neighbor next to her knew about this and posted. And And that's about everything. So I do have a list of 100 free marketing ideas like the ones I gave you. So take down my phone number and just hit free, and then I'll get it over to you guys today. Thank you.
Really good. I love it. You're great. Great on time. We're catching up a little bit. All right, so we're to have a little break before our next speaker. First of all, I know you guys are feeling a lot of estrogen on stage. We do have some males coming up, but we also had Mike Harrison, who's a YouTube expert, need to at last minute dip out because his kids have COVID. But we still have included his information about what he's done on YouTube in the resource that we're going to share with you. Along those lines, one thing I want to say to everybody in the room, we're a community here, and we're going to be continuing to do these in real life production summit is what we're going to be calling them into the next year. If you have a superpower, male or female, if you have a superpower, if you have something that you think you want to get up here and share with the rest of us in terms of something you do well, please reach out to me. We're looking for content creators, providers, teachers, sharers. We want that. So please reach out to me. We want to get you up here on this platform next year. All right. Before we bring up our next speaker, I do want to thank our sponsors. Capital Title I think it was Angie here from Capital Title. Is she here? I don't know where she is, but she's here. So find her. They've been sponsoring our events this entire year. And then we have Taylor Caldwell from Prep to Close. Come up here and say a few words. She's the one who brought the wonderful breakfast, so give her a round of applause. She's going to talk a little bit about what she does.
Thank you. Hey y'all, it's so good to be in the room with so many familiar faces. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Taylor Caldwell. I was formerly with a company called Free Model, and so I have a new name and a new number for the same mission. And my mission is to bring renovations paid at the closing table to you and your listings. So as we go into the Halloween holiday, the spookiest thing I'm seeing are days on market. I don't know about you. And so what we have been tracking is with homes that are list ready and turnkey, they're about half the days on market. Really cool stat I want to share is in the last 2 years, we have not had a single home that has not made at least the money they've put into the property when they sold it. That's a huge stat. Everyone's afraid of, I don't want to put $50,000 into my property. I want to put it into the next house that I'm moving into. Awesome, but you just did a $50K price drop, right? Like, let's help you get it across the finish line. Let's help you transact. We are the only company in DFW that does not require a credit check. We can simply give you a complimentary estimate. Whatever your client chooses to do, we will get paid at the closing table. So, in true real estate spirit, I'd love to do a giveaway because you'll forget half of what I said today until you're standing in front of a listing that you cannot sell or you're chasing expires. If you want to talk about how we can strategically do that together, I would love that. So I'm going to give you my new phone number. I would love the first person to text me to give a Starbucks gift card to. Yay, who needs coffee? So my number is 214-342-3117. 214-342-3117. Taylor with Prep to Close. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you. Awesome. It was great work, you guys. So try them out. If you can't move your listing, she's the girl to call. Okay. All right. Next speaker. My girl. All right. So you guys probably know her because everybody knows her, and that's what she's going to be talking about today is how she kind of created the personal brand that she has and how to get known on socials and that kind of thing. But Fancy Nancy, she has a passion for lifestyle and design that's led her into luxury real estate, where she spent 22 years building a reputation for excellence across Texas. Top producer featured in D Magazine, Real Producers for 6 consecutive years, blends her business acumen, design expertise, and investment savvy to help clients buy, sell, and build wealth through real estate. She just lives fancier. Come on up here, Fancy Nancy. you go. Right here. Easy as that, right? You got it, yep.
Hi everyone, I'm Fancy Nancy, and today I'm going to be talking about branding and how important branding your business is. Because you want people to be able to know who you are, recognize you just by, oh, there she is, that girl. So anything that kind of sets you apart is definitely, like Dawn said earlier, consistency is key, and the more consistent you are with your branding, the better it is going to be for you. Okay, so branding your business. That's just the code. Okay, so in real estate, again, it's really important to make sure that you are setting yourself apart. And so you do this through not just like your logos and your web design and all of your signage and all of that, but you want to make sure that you are kind of keeping yourself with your brokerage, but also separated just in case you want people to know you, not they're working with you because of who you are. So that's the most important part. So you want to make sure that that stands out. So the brand design components are going to be your business cards, your brand personality, your market and user research, and then obviously your logo design. So this is my logo for my business. It's obviously super intricate. It's a chandelier because I'm fancy. You can see the crystals have the state of Texas. It has a key, and then it has a house at the bottom. Those are all like representing me, luxury, fancy. So again, everyone is going to pick something that works for them and represents them because that's the ideal that you're trying to get across to your target market. These are my business cards, so you can see, again, it's very consistent with the font, the coloring, all the different things, because you want to make sure that consistency carries over in all that you're doing. And so you can read the brand textbook definition, incorporates your name, your design, your symbol. These are things that people, when they see it right away, they recognize you. So your brand is more importantly like an experience that you're giving people. So when I encounter my people, they feel like they're getting like a fancy experience. This is like my client events are always super fancy, and most of the time people kind of have like a fear of missing out when it comes to my events because I do make them kind of luxury and exclusive. Again, it's an experience and a feeling that you're giving your people. So I don't always I like to brand me. So most of the stuff you see always says live just fancier. That's my tagline for life. I feel like when you go from an apartment to a house, you're living fancier. Just life in general, you should just be doing things fancy because YOLO, you never know. So that's like my brand. So I like to get that across. And so a lot of times that is what I push across instead of pushing like eXp or any brand brokerage that you're with. So also too, when you are branding yourself and you're thinking about things that you give in client events and different things, I like to always make sure that mine is really for the client, not necessarily like has my name on it. So it still represents you, but it doesn't have my name on it. So like I'm not going to give a fancy mug that says Nancy's Real Estate because no one wants to carry that around. I'm Nancy and I don't even want to carry that around. But something like this, somebody might want to carry it. They put it in their kitchen, like on their oven. Somebody comes over, oh, that's super cute. It's not saying screaming real estate, real estate, real estate, but it's still branding. So, and it aligns with who I am and the message that I'm getting across. So when you want to define your brand, you want to think of 3 words that best describe you. You can take a moment and do this later if you don't have your branding established. Mine's fancy, lifestyle, and empowerment. You want to make sure that what your brand style is. So like across your platforms, you want to have like your fonts the same. These are different ones that I use depending on what I'm printing. Like the Scriptina is obviously harder when you're printing things, so keep that in mind as well. When you do pick your logo, like I said, mine's super intricate and I did it a long time ago before Chatty G was there. Oh, y'all have more help now. But when I do print it, it is a harder thing to print because it is super intricate. So make sure you keep that in mind. And then across my branding platforms,
you have like codes, like color codes on Canva or different things. These are my color codes, so that way every time I'm printing something or I'm using something, it is all consistent. It's not like sometimes it's more pink than blush, like it's always the same because I have the color code. So you wanna make sure that when you're creating your brand, those are the things that you're focused on. Again, it needs to be consistent. So you want to think obviously about what makes you unique and authentic. What is your why? What drives you in real estate beyond just selling homes? Because all realtors sell homes, so you want something that kind of sets you apart. How does your past experience shape your approach? What principles guide you through business? Obviously, your hobbies and your passions. What's really good about this one is that when you do events or different things, you can kind of stay in that space of things that you're good at. So if you're good at golfing, you'll want to gravitate towards those kind of Facebook pages and those kind of things, whatever it is that works for you, basically. And then who are you trying to connect with? Like, what's your ideal client like? So for me, if I'm talking about myself, my past experiences, I remember wanting to buy real estate. I bought my first condo at like 24, and I was at a phase where most of my friends were all getting married at that age, and that wasn't where I was. And I remember them being like, "Why are you buying something like that's so dumb? Like, what if you get married? And what if this and what if that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, so what if I do get married? Like, I can still have a house and I can rent it out, and it could be income, but like." That wasn't their mindset, it was my mindset, and I think that I kind of took that, and most of my clients that I brand with, or obviously you're working your sphere of influence, are women, and that was a drive for me. That was really important for me to make sure that I was speaking to women and saying, you can buy a house, you don't have to be married to buy a house. So you take your personal experience, and it drives you to find the people that you want to work with and different things to set you apart. So that has become a mission for me of just making sure I am spreading wealth that way through people that resonate with me. So my brand, this is my mission statement. You want to have a mission statement for your brand. So my brand, Live Just Banter, embodies elegance, empowerment, and the pursuit of beautiful lifestyle. As Fancy Nancy, my goal is to bring signature filler to everything I touch, combining sophistication with a touch of sparkle, because I love all sparkly things. And so I like to inspire others. Like I do, like, this is Fancy Fridays, so people can see fancy things that happen on, whether it's something in a home or a fancy restaurant or anything like that, but you're adding value and giving information. So you want to make sure that you're portraying living experiences, because that's the main thing in your brand. It's an experience that you're giving. So you want to think about what your mission statement is. Another good example of this was mine, but everyone knows James Sharp Shoes, and he's amazing, and his mission statement, he has this whole charity with the shoes. Everyone knows him like that. He's branded himself amazingly, like Sharp Shoes. Every time we get together, we're like, "Hey, here's our shoes, take a picture." But that's how he's known, and everyone knows him because of that, and it all started with a charity that was close to his heart from his grandma and all the different things. So for me also too, like I have a design background, so I use that in my branding, and so it's meant to, again, mine's more girly and kind of girl powery. So all of that comes through in who I am and the experiences that I provide. So just make sure it's about you, because that's why people are working with you, not because of where you work, it's because of who you are. So again, you want to make sure branding checklists, preparation visuals, print materials. So I have like fancy chandelier, but then when I'm doing printing, I sometimes use this because it's obviously easier than the intricacy of your brand. So think about that when you are creating your brand again. And then again, your brand strategy outlines your mission statement, your buzzwords, your audience. You can make a mood board or anything like that that helps you pick colors, whatever gets you to the point of where you can create your brand. Again, now there's like ChatGPT, so that should be definitely helpful. So Logo, I showed you the secondary logo. The color palettes are the colors with the codes that we had, the fonts. Your icon would be your actual logo, and then branding photography. You want your branding photography to be professional. You can see print materials. It's kind of consistent on all platforms. This is my actual sign that I use, and then these are like my writers, but you see they all kind of follow the same suit, and they're all still super consistent with me and my brand. So, and your print materials are gonna be your business cards, thank you notes, any printed guides or signage that you have. And then digital materials, so you have your website, social media, templates. Again, if your templates, once you create them, if they are already created with your color codes and everything, you're really just kind of plugging in things for your system, so that's awesome. And then you wanna make sure that you're obviously in compliance. So this is where the compliance comes in on your stuff of what you have to have for your brokerage, but again, this is the placement, guidelines, font specifications. So assessment of your current brand. It is good to do a refresh, just because you wanna make sure, like, over time, maybe who you market to has changed, maybe you go after military families, whatever it is, market refreshes happen there in that area. So that's always a good thing because it keeps you fresh. Logo use, colors, codes, they can all change depending on, what it is that's going on. And then this is kind of like stats of marketing, people that are branded versus people that aren't. So you can kind of see like your lead conversion. Realtors with consistent branding convert 3 times more leads on average, if this is an R statistic, than generic agents solely on cold leads. Client retention, agents with a strong brand enjoy up to 23% higher repeat referral business. Just like Stacy was saying, she is getting marketing in all of those people's yards. They may not be her client, but they see her sign. That is free marketing, consistent, it's her branding. She's gonna end up turning that into a closing. So you just wanna make sure that you are thinking about that because it is important. Agents with strong brand enjoy up to 23% higher repeat referral business. Again, they think of you as like, you know everything, you're the expert of that, like that's what you want. 70% of businesses are to brand reputation, and 81% of buyers say they need to trust their agent before buying. Once your brand is built, like I start to get to the point of where I have my clients actually talk to me the way I talk to them, kind of funny sometimes, but they'll be like, did you know that there's a book called Fancy Nancy? And I'm like, yes, I have the whole collection. I had it before I even had my daughter, but thank you. Or they'll buy me a book or anything that says like a cup or a shirt or a hat or anything that says fancy, they'll literally buy it and give it to me or send it to me like so-and-so store has this, go get it. It made me think of you, but that's what you want. That's how you know your branding is made. Again, across all platforms, the branding is consistent. It's not being like vain, it's literally like strategy because people recognize it. So first impressions on social media are important. You want to make sure your bio, your tone, and your visuals all represent who you are. You want to make sure your pictures are actually look like you and they aren't like old pictures, because I've met people at like listings and people are like, oh, you look like your picture, and it's like, yeah, they must have interviewed people that don't look like their picture. Like it's so like people feel like bamboozled when you do stuff like that. Or if you're posting about coffee, you're in coffee shops, you're talking about the greatest coffees, and then you get to their house and they offer you coffee and you're like, no, I don't drink coffee. Oh, well, that's not what you said earlier. They feel kind of bamboozled because they're watching. So again, make sure it is consistent with who you are. And then you want to make sure you are obviously professional communicator, email signatures, everything looks professional. And then again, we talked about the post branding gifts. I don't ever brand gifts that say my name on them. They all say live just fancier. It's something I'm giving. It's something that they feel is luxury. So you want to think about that when you're giving branding gifts. So, quick activity for you to come up with your rating, define your 3 words, audit your visuals, update your bio and tagline, create branded templates to make it easier, and maybe book a brand shoot to make sure your picture actually looks like you. And that's it. I think I got the timing down.
No, you're fine. Don was telling me how he was at an event with like 1,800 people and somebody with a live lab mic went potty, so we're okay in here, okay?
That was embarrassing.
I'm
My
just
business
saying.
partner, 1,800 people, my business partner's gone, I can hear him talking to his wife, and I can hear the door close in the bathroom, and I can hear the zipper, and I'm like, turn them off! Our table in the back, that sound table, scary, almost. Hey, we're gonna bring Stacy back up again, and Haley, and they're gonna talk about open houses, in case you haven't figured out, they're pretty smart. So bring them back up to the stage. Come on, let's go. You can have this one. Well, actually, let's get one.
Hey guys, okay, bringing Haley up from my team. She has been with me 8 years? 10 years. She started just real small, part-time with me, working open houses on the weekends only and had a regular job. She moved here, knew nobody from Utah. Moved here to kind of start over again. She needed income though for somewhere to live, and us realtors know we're on straight commission, so she just worked open houses on the weekend until I could bring her on as a TC. And then as she worked as a TC, she sat next to me. I didn't start big at all, you guys. I've been in real estate 13 years. I started over when I turned 40. And she sat at my dining room table every single day for 8 years until we finally just bought an office this last year for the first time. But she was at my home every day at 8 a.m., sitting at the dining room table, working and learning from me. So one of the biggest things I want to tell you is surround yourself with where you want to go. The 5 people you surround yourself with are who you become. So then after she was my TC and seeing what all the other agents were making in revenue, she's like, F this, so her and my friends, but I want to be making that kind of money. So when did you go into sales?
5 years ago.
5 years ago, and part-time started. Full-time, you've been doing it?
4 years.
4 years?
2021.
And she pretty much, if I can say, she'll be close to $500,000 in revenue this year. And she has built her entire business off of open houses. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit. You need to do it quicker. No, wrong way. I keep going the wrong way. All right, so pre-open house approach. You wanna talk about that a little bit, Haley?
Yeah, so I think a lot of agents make the mistake in showing up at open houses and just being there, being present, but I like to think of it as an interview. So there's a lot of pre-work that goes into open houses. I'm lucky to do a lot of my open houses in the Tribute, which I've been working in for 10 years now. But if it's a neighborhood I'm not familiar with, I need to get very familiar with it. So it's knowing the home, it's knowing the community, what is the tax rate, what is the HOA fees, what are the amenities. Something that we use in our Tribute open houses is a map of the community, which if you're working in a master plan community, I would recommend reaching out to the HOA, seeing if they have a map that they can share, being able to show the villages and where the pools are and the trails and all of that. It just builds confidence with that person visiting the open house. A lot of these buyers have homes to sell. So it's not just about the knowledge you can provide throughout the buying process, it's also showing and how you would sell their house. They want to know that you're going to represent their property just like you're representing the house that you're in.
How many of you guys like working open houses? How many of you have sold a house from an open house? How many of you think open houses don't work and you loathe doing them? Okay, thank you for your honesty. I feel like you just have to learn to work them the right way. There is many times we will do an open house and nobody will come in. It's a great time to catch up on your database, but it just takes one. It's like fishing. It's getting the right person to walk in the door. But I don't know how many times I've had people come up to me and say, you know, I work open houses and I don't ever get anything from it. And so I will go shadow them. Somebody will walk in the door and they'll be like, hey, can I help you? They're like, we're just looking. All right, well, let me know if you have any questions. And then they go sit in the kitchen and they don't ever engage with the people again. and the people come down the stairs and they head right out the door, they don't sign in, they don't do anything. That is a complete missed opportunity. And I want you to think about this, me as a listing agent, and the amount of money I spend on marketing for those open houses and to get them listed on the MLS, I want you to put this in your brain. It costs me $150 for every time somebody walks in that door. That's $150. If you as the agent working that open house, as a newer agent, walk in and you start to think, that person, I had to put down $150 for them to walk through the door. How much more effort would you put in to making sure they don't walk back out that door until you find out if they truly need an agent or not? It kind of needs to make your pocket hurt. And a lot of agents, it doesn't because you're working somebody else's open house. But it's very expensive to get people to walk in the door. We're lucky now that the laws changed because more and more people are walking into open houses because they don't want to sign a buyer rep agreement with an agent. So now they're coming to more open houses. So now is the best time ever to actually work an open house. Next, what do you do when a visitor enters the home, Haley?
Yeah, so I like to give them some space. I'll hand them a flyer. I'll hit them with some details about the house and the community that are not on that flyer that I think are important. Some other things to gather before you get to the open house. A lot of people want to know why the seller's moving. It's good to understand the timelines. Some other things are any upgrades or major components that have been changed out on the house, just things that buyers like to know. So I'll give them space, let them walk around the house by themselves, but then I typically try to pull them back into the main space. I typically just tell them, hey, for this, the seller would really like everyone to sign in. It's a good way to get them back to where my setup is and get them filling out their information. And then I just start asking them questions, which I think is on the next slide.
Yeah, asking questions is probably the biggest thing. So this is how you start to get them to engage. How many times it's like shopping? Is there anything I can help you with? Of course, you're going to say no, so the person leaves you alone. So you have to engage and ask them a question that's going to get them to stay. So usually when they come back down, I'll say something like, okay, scale of 1 to 10, especially if it's a husband and wife. What did you think of this house? And we get each of their scores. And it's kind of amazing how the husband will be like, I give this a 5. And the wife's like, 5? I absolutely loved it. He's like, yeah, the garage wasn't great. Well, of course the garage wasn't great. And the wife will be like, oh, I gave it an 8. And they don't even realize that they're not on the same page, but it gets them talking. We'll usually ask, where are you from, Dallas? Are you looking to move soon? You want to ask open-ended questions, not a question that they can say no. Another thing we don't do is we never say, are you currently working with a realtor? Because most of the time they're going to say, yep, taken care of. You want to phrase it in a way that gets them to truly open up. One big trick that Haley does is she learns the market where she's at. And if they're like, this just isn't the house for us, we wish it had 2 bedrooms down, and it doesn't. Haley immediately will be like, oh, you need 2 bedrooms down? There's actually 4 listings in the neighborhood right now with 2 bedrooms down. Come on, let me show you where they're at the map. She'll have a map of the neighborhood. They walk over and she can start gauging. She's becoming the expert in the neighborhood now. She knows where the 4 homes are that are what they're looking for. And she'll start to engage. But she will say, she'll say, we've got one off market that I think would be a great fit for you. She may not even know which one it is off market that we have. But she'll say, if you're currently working with an agent, I can send your agent the photos for them to pass on to you so you can go see it. But if you haven't signed with an agent yet, I'd love to email it to you. Almost all the time, you find out the truth that they're not really working with an agent. And now you have something they want. It's all on how you word it to get them to come in the door.
Yeah, on the last slide, knowing the other listings that are for sale in the community of hosting an open house site is really important. If there's something negative that comes up about the house you're in and there's other opportunities in the community, really try not to book anything after your open houses for like an hour, hour and a half, because if I know there's a house down the street for sale that's not open that day and it could be a fit for this buyer, I'm going to schedule a showing and try to get them to meet me as soon as my open house is over. Because if I can get right back in front of them and get a buyer rep signed, then that's kind of my trick to get them.
And she has literally called me before and said, these buyers are hot. I think I'm going to lose them if they walk out the door and go down the street to another open house. Can you come take over so I can go take them to a listing? You just don't give up on any opportunity. The faster if they walk out that door, it is so hard to get them back. You need to have something that they want that you can provide them that nobody else has. And just getting familiar with them. And you're going to be like, so where are you from? Wisconsin. Wisconsin? I'm from Nebraska! I mean, that has nothing to you just want to find something that's similar. Well, we've got 4 kids. One's at OU. Oh, you! My brother's son's best friend goes there. That's just amazing. So just find something familiar that you can start to talk about and become relatable to them. One of the biggest quotes is that on here.
It's the last line.
Well, we'll get to the quotes, but one of them is, do you know what the quote is?
It's at the very
Oh, yeah. People don't hire realtors, they hire relatable humans, and it's so true. Everybody wants to make sure of that one. But it's true. When you're just stating facts or you're not real open talking to them, they need something that's relatable. And you can find just about anything out there relatable with anybody. You just have to ask the right questions. Additional tips, Haley?
Yeah, so that's part of it. Keep the conversation going. The more questions you ask them, the less talking that you do. The more they're talking, the more you can find where in their story and their experience you can add value. You want them to answer your phone call after that open house. So if there's something you can find that you can kind of drop a little pin of, hey, I'm going to contact you because I have this information, I think it'll be valuable, the more likely they are to actually answer your call after that open house. Ensure accurate sign-in. So how many people have had someone fill out a sign-in sheet? You go to call the phone number and it's an invalid number. I will look at the sheet before they leave and I'll say, can you repeat your phone number for me? I want to make sure I have it right on this sheet. You're going to find out real quick if that phone number they put in there is accurate or not.
Another tip we do there is we'll say, oh, here's your phone. I'm going to send you a text right now so you've got my information. That'll catch them off guard. A lot of people use online sign-ins. We tried that for a while and then we just got to go back to old school and fill out a card with them. It also helps them become more relatable when they have to put the pen in their hand and sit there and sign in and sign their information down.
And then again, if they have a realtor, so obviously you want to respect that relationship, but as Stacey mentioned earlier, we have some tricks that we can use to find out if they really do have an agent, asking for their contact information for that realtor. You find out kind of quick if they're going to put their agent's information or they're going to put theirs. Photos, if they're asking a lot of questions about the house, the age of things, the roof, all of that. The seller's disclosure is a huge thing I'll use. Hey, I've got a form I can send you with a ton of information on the house, upgrades, anything you need to know. Do you want me to send that to your agent? If so, can I get their information, or do you want me to send it direct to you? If they wanted to go direct to them, we kind of know that their agent is maybe not, maybe they don't even have an agent.
You definitely want to respect if they have an agent, but there's tips and ways to award things to find out if they truly do or not. Another big one I learned is dress professional when you're at the open house. Jeans are even okay these days, but still be somewhat professional in the way you dress. And I learned very early on, we have the same setup if you've ever worked at an open house for us. The exact same signs, the exact same sign-in sheets, the exact same cookies, the exact same waters. One of my very first open houses I ever did, I had Fiji water out, and this couple came in and said, "You're serving Fiji water?" I'm like, "Yeah." They ended up putting an offer on the house, and when we closed, he's like, "It was because you had Fiji water." I'm like, "We are never buying anything other than Fiji water. I will buy Fiji water forever." But it's just, you never know what the little thing can be that sets somebody off and shows them who your personality is and what type of realtor you're going to be to them, and you want to be professional. Apparently, Fiji water is more professional. So,
yeah, another tip is get to open house early. Make sure you get your signs out. Make sure your door is open on time. You never know when those people are going to show up 3 minutes early. If you're in a community with new construction, put your signs in places that are going to drive that traffic from that new construction and model home into your open house. It works pretty much every time.
yeah, and stay till the end. How many of you have started turning off all the lights and you go out the door and you're like, oh, somebody just pulled up, and then you run through the house real quick and turn them all back on? Yeah, it happens to everybody at some point. But that could be the one. It really could be. We give you that, and that's everything. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you so much. We just asked them to come up and talk about open houses like late last night, and they were down for it. So really appreciate that last minute pivot to fill Mike's spot. Okay, we're gonna have all that and more. You guys are about to hear how you're gonna be able to access everybody's information and a lot more cool stuff around the buzz of AI. Anybody need to learn a little bit more about AI? We're not all AI'd out, are we? Okay, I'm gonna bring this next speaker to the stage. Yeah, thank you. I've actually had the privilege to get to know him a little bit. I didn't know him before, maybe a couple of weeks ago. I had a couple of Zooms with him, and I not only found out the introduction, which I'll share with you in a minute, but I found out that this guy is like servant heart, servant leader to the core. Like he was up with us after hours working, and we were just all working for the love of working, and I was like, this is amazing. These are people, right? So I know he's going to bring you guys just as much value as he brought us on those calls. But he talked about all the value he's going to bring. So with nearly 30 years in high performance sales, Jeff Kiani is a conversion strategist known for helping agents in master communication, consistency, and closings. A trusted coach and trainer with NAEA, that's National Association of Expert Advisors. I'm sure most of y'all know who they are. Jeff blends proven lead gen systems with cutting-edge AI tools to help real estate professionals build predictable, scalable businesses. Welcome to the stage, Jeff Kiani.
All right, what's up, everybody? Appreciate y'all. There's been, I think everybody can probably hear me. Y'all hear me all right? All right, cool. So really good stuff that I heard already. I spent a long time. I love Dawn and your expired, canceled for sale by owners, all that stuff. I spent a long time in that business, 15 years in the investment business for a long time. Okay, so a whole different world, but if you've ever seen Boiler Room Wall Street, the original Wall Street, okay, with Bud Fox, or Wolf of Wall Street, but like I lived in that environment for a long time, and it is nothing but cold calling all day long. And if you think calling an expired who actually had their home on the market is difficult, try to call somebody and ask them to write a check for $500,000. Okay, sight unseen. I'm gonna send you prospectus, call you tomorrow, we'll write the check if everything sounds good. Fair enough? Like that's a hard call to make. So the opportunity's out there every day, even if there's only one expired. That kind of hit a chord with me, so I wanted to make sure to show some love for Dawn and everybody else that's been sharing some really good information. I'm not gonna ask you guys to take a lot of notes or anything, okay? I'm just gonna try to keep things going for Dawn. It's getting a little warm in here. I promised Dawn, by the way, I wouldn't use any four-letter words today. So, but I might have lied, okay? We might use a few four-letter words today. Some of them might offend you. But we are here to finish strong and get stuff done, right, between now and the end of the year. So we're going to talk about some four-letter words, and some of them might offend you, okay? Maybe not. Let's talk about where we're at this year. Who had a goal this year? Raise your hand if you had a goal this year. Great. A whole bunch of you. That's better than I probably would have expected. All right, how many of you think that you're on pace to hit your goal? Great. How many of you probably just won't quite hit it? All right, and that's all good too, okay? How many of you have a college degree? All right. Anybody here drop out of high school? All right, I got my fellow high school dropout with me. So I never graduated high school either, okay? But somehow we are all here, okay? We all made it here. We all have the same opportunity today. So it's important to realize no matter how y'all got here, we're all here. We all have the same opportunity today. I came from Salinas, California, if you know where that is. Anybody know Salinas, California? Yeah. All right, there you go. Probably spent more time in Monterey, I'm guessing, if you know Salinas. But that's where I came from, and I spent a long time on that dotted path, not doing a whole lot right, okay? I grew up in California and kind of had an unstable or colorful growing up, let's say, but I got to Texas as soon as I can or could, like they say when you get here, right? I got to Texas as soon as I could. And so that's where I got, is here. And I moved here in about 2000 that year. I was selling men's clothing at the Galleria, as a matter of fact. If y'all remember Harold's, anybody ever remember that Oklahoma City company called Harold's? There you go. So you know the Galleria store probably. Well, okay, there you go, yeah. There you go. So we all know Harold's. So I managed the menswear department at Harold's. And one time I was looking for a different opportunity, and I saw an ad about becoming a stockbroker, and that's how I got into the whole investment business. Spent 15 years in that, spent a lot of time developing oil and gas properties all across Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Colorado, Pennsylvania, you name it. But that is a volatile industry. I remember oil at $140 a barrel, and I remember it at $35. So when you're making those calls, asking people to write checks, it's real difficult when the market's not good. Maybe like it is, for some of you in this industry, if the market's not good. But either way, that led me finally to getting on a growth path. I left that industry and I hooked up with two guys named Jay Kinder and Michael Reese. Anybody heard of those? Either one of them? Okay, I know, right here. And the funny thing here, okay, side note, is Carly right here, way back when, in probably 2014 or 15, I was looking to start over, y'all. Okay, this is not on the slides, but anybody who's at a point right now where you want 2026 to be different than this year, okay, I've been there 3 times at least, have started at 0. Like, not even a box of clothing, and that's it, because you were stupid and you lost everything some way or another. Okay, I had a whole storage unit one time full of everything I owned that I couldn't pay, and they auctioned it all off. Okay, so starting over. That's happened a lot. I'm sure some of you have had the same thing happen, okay, as far as starting over goes. And I bet you're a pretty successful person because of it, honestly. Okay, so I'm grateful for the opportunity to have had to start over. But I hooked up with Jay and Michael Reese. They had an independent brokerage. They had an ISA team calling, we had a book called Inside Sales Predictability. But we were calling expireds, cancels for sale by owners, circle prospecting, home value adds all day long. Carly Hodges was the person who just about hired me. I went through this group interview process way back in 2015. And she's here today. I hadn't seen her since then. And man, what a journey it's been, right, since then. So, but at that time, I was in an industry where I made calls. So coming and making calls to expireds for sale by owners, that was no big deal to me. And so I did that for about a year and made calls all day long, 8 hours a day. Set appointments. Carly remembers those days. We had a whole ISA team, and it was great. And then that led to a lot of other things. Being around the right people, somebody said it earlier. I think Stacy might have said it. It is so true. Okay, get around the right people. When I got in the investment business, I started going to Del Frisco's. Y'all ever been to Del Frisco Steakhouse? Okay, I started shopping at Stanley Korshak. I started changing the lifestyle that I lived, right? And the possibilities became different also. And that was because of Jay and Mike and a lot of the people that I was around. And so since then, I've been trying to get better, including this year. This was 2025, Project 2025. At the beginning of this year, there was a lot of people talking about Project 2025 for a lot of reasons, not trying to get political, but it made me think that, damn, everybody needs a project for the year, actually. So what's my Project 2025? All right, so a few of the things were no drinking alcohol at all. I haven't had a drink of alcohol since December 31st, 2024. Thank you. Working out 10 times a week. I do a lot of running. So last year I ran 1,000 miles. Finished the year off running a 50-mile race in the freezing rain in December. It was not fun, but we finished it. And I've done a bunch of ultra marathons and all that. But this year I wanted less running. I wanted more working out. So working out 2 times a day, 10 workouts a week is the goal. So we've been meeting that standard, doing a video every day because I'm not the best on social media, but doing a short, a reel, and a story every day is on that list. Going to church once a month in person, not just streaming it, is on that list. Getting to the doctor to get our blood work and all that shit done is on the list, okay? Because we got to get it done. And that's not stuff that I usually like to do, but that's the screensaver on my phone. So every day, I see it, and I'm looking at it face to face, okay? And that way, it's a way to hold me accountable. So that all being said, now is the time for you, no matter where you have come from, where you started from, or whatever, now is the time, okay, for your next. That's this next year has a chance to be your best year if you have the mindset to make it so, okay? And so we're going to ask y'all to think about a few other 4-letter words that might offend you if I haven't already. Okay, and the first one of those is going to be goal. It's like a controversial word these days. People don't like it. I don't have a goal. I don't want a goal. You shouldn't have goals. I do have a goal. I don't want to talk about my goal. Whatever it is, right, you get an interesting response. I got to give credit to everybody here. A lot of you do have goals, and that's great. Now let me ask you, though, out of all of you that have goals, how many of you have a real goal that's really yours? It's not because somebody said you're supposed to make $500,000 a year. Okay, I remember being at boot camps, working with Jay and Mike, and Jay talked about selling 500 homes a year, and he said, that was the most miserable time of my life, was selling 500 homes a year, he said, because he was doing it with 3 assistants. I imagine it was pretty miserable. But that becomes somebody else's goal. Somebody in the crowd, I'm going to sell 500 homes a year. Really? Like, is that, because you just told me that you wanted to spend 3 months on vacation. And so is it really your goal, or is it just this thing that you think that you should aspire to because it's what society might have put on you? All right, some of you might be happy selling a dozen homes a year and being able to spend more time with friends or family. Or you could focus your efforts in a different area, maybe following some of the things that Stacy or somebody else has told you, and get a higher priced sale for the same amount of work. Okay, so you make the same amount of money, but don't have to do any more work. So my challenge would be make sure that the goal is really yours. And then the other thing that people hate, every Monday I do an accountability call with agents, and I pull up a spreadsheet and I say, okay, how many deals you got closed now? How many buyer agreements do we have signed now? How many listings do we have on the market now? How many deals do we have under contract now? How does that relate back to what we said we were going to do at the beginning of the year? Who wants to share first? Nobody. Anybody who's ever tried to do any kind of accountability call and get people to honestly have a discussion about their numbers, it's pretty tough, okay? But it's something that we got to be able to stomach, okay? Are we on pace? Those of you that raised your hand, I hope you raised it because you're on pace to reach your goal this year, or you already hit it, okay? Or are we off pace? Peter Drucker said we can't measure what we don't manage, and we can't manage what we don't measure. Either way, I think it goes the other way, but we got to be able to manage and measure. And that means these KPIs you hear about, calls per day. Dawn said she knows all of her numbers. I know for me back in the day, it was like every 18 conversations I had, I got a nurture. We called a warm person I could put in my pipeline. Every 50 conversations with the actual person whose name was on the lead, I got an appointment. 35 to 50. If you're brand new and you don't practice your scripting, 50 conversations, you're in money zone. If you're good like Dawn, 20 conversations. Just give me the real person that's on that lead, and out of every 20, we can get an appointment set. But we got to know some of the metrics to know if we're on pace to our goal or if we're off pace. There's less than 3 months left. By the way, this was the best time of my year back in the investment business. A lot of people take off in that business, much like real estate. Yet there is a ton of business because in the investment business, you've got people who have a ticking clock, and that's tax season. Okay, and there are decisions that can be made that impact their tax consequences. There are sometimes that in real estate. I know also we used to say that one of the things is that while there might not be as many people looking at homes, those that are typically more qualified and serious, right? And so there's plenty of ways to deal with that, but the opportunities are out there. I was at church on this last Sunday, okay, met the Project 2025 commitment, and they were talking about miracles, and something that was said, and they rubbed some of you the wrong way, and that was that miracles don't fix your situation always. Miracles don't always change things for the better. Sometimes the miracle is the fact that the opportunity is there for you to take advantage of. The opportunity that there was even one expired for me to call today in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex is the miracle, okay? Sometimes the miracle is that we have to act on the opportunity that's in front of us. Okay, the miracle is the opportunity is there for you. It's your choice. You have a choice and you have an option. And that's the miracle. Sometimes we have to take the action, okay, to make it change the situation. And then sometimes it's just timing, okay? Sometimes timing isn't right. And so sometimes it's opportunity, sometimes it's timing. I work with Jay Kinder a lot on a day-to-day basis. We talk to a lot of agents. He's probably on a phone call right now. I would bet 99.9%. He's on a call right now talking to an agent about how he can help them grow their business. And he says this all the time. Three things, maybe it's 4 words. But he said sometimes it's just when opportunity meets timing. Okay? Sometimes it's just when opportunity meets timing. And I think right now is one of those cases. Okay? There's plenty of opportunity. And now with AI and everything else that we have at our fingertips, there could be no better time than to get off our butt and go do what it is we said we wanted to do. Everybody here, I'm sure if I asked you, you'd say that you love what you do. But there are some of us that if you looked at my daily activities, they do not demonstrate somebody who loves what they do. So you love what you do, show me. Okay, that's the challenge, or one of them for this next year, so that we can all hopefully make this the year where we reach our summit. And I was looking at this slide over there, and I thought, summit, I wonder how they came up with that word. It's on my list, by the way, that Project 2025 to climb a mountain this year. Clock's ticking. Probably going to have to find a tall hill or something. But maybe Don pointed me in a direction where somebody can take me up a mountain. But if you look at that word, there you go. It makes me think of, summit. It really is. It's the sum of all of our efforts that are going to get it. Okay, it's the sum of all of our efforts that are going to get us there. And today, with AI and technology, there's just more leverage that you can apply to do more in less time than ever before. So you can spend time on your $500 an hour work. Most of us, unfortunately, are spending at least 3 to 4 hours a day on $10 to $20 an hour work. And that, if it was redirected into spending some time face to face with a prospect where I get paid $300 to $500 or more, that's time better spent. So how do I buy time back? By getting that stuff off of my plate. And the last 4-letter word here that we're going to discuss is one that some of you might really like, some of you might hate, and it's tech. Okay, all day long I hear agents on the other end of the phone or in person tell me, yeah, but I'm not really techy. I'm not good with technology, and we found that we do a lot of that stuff for the people that we partner with because it isn't everybody's strong suit, nor is it always the best use of your time. Okay, but we do need to definitely learn how to adapt.
Real Jeff, let me jump in for a sec before you start quoting Zig Ziglar backwards in Latin or whatever you were about to do next.
I like Zig Ziglar. Why are you interrupting me?
Because let's be honest, these agents didn't come here just to listen. They came to level up. And if we don't get into the doing part soon, someone's going to start checking the MLS for open bar listings.
Well, that won't be me. I'm not drinking. What did you have in mind?
Glad you asked. We're about to hit the live fire portion.
Okay, that the role play thing we're going to do?
That's right. Scripts, objections, real world role play. Ricky Reflex is up next, and he's been practicing rebuttals like ChatGPT with a caffeine drip.
All right, y'all ready?
Y'all ready? My friend Ricky is locked in. Go ahead and tap to the next slide.
Here we go. So we're going to share this all with you. The next slide I'm going to share after this is going to be a QR code. You guys are going to scan that QR code or go to a URL, and you're going to get all the slides, the scripts from Dawn, everything that everybody promised to give you today is all going to be available on a little app. Plus, I was a salesperson, okay, when I got into this industry of real estate. Give me a name and a number, and I'll close anybody anywhere, even that's BS, okay? Any of you that believe that, you're going to go gray. You'll burn out, probably say, I used to be a salesperson, tough racket, right? Not everybody is meant to be closed. You're supposed to walk away from a lot of people, so I don't believe that I'm supposed to close everybody now, okay? But along the way, I became a marketer. Working with Michael Reese, it's hard not to. And then in today's world, you've got AI, and if we're not using it every day, then I suggest that you should be, okay? I heard some cool names for ChatGPT already today, Chatty G, and a couple other names I hadn't heard. So I'll start using that because ChatGPT is like an exercise in announcing syllables or something. So much easier way to do it. But what I've done is I've created a bunch of prompts. If you guys are used to ChatGPT, the stuff we type in and tell it to do is called a prompt. And so I get into creating these prompts that, one long prompt, it might be 6 pages long, but then it just does a whole bunch of stuff as soon as I hit enter. All right, now I have a bunch of those that I've put into a folder that are going to be available for y'all on the app. So you're just going to take the prompts, like there's one that'll create your top 10 YouTube videos based on information you give it. There's one that's going to give you a 90-day content plan. And there's one that's going to role play with you. If you guys do want to make calls and you want to test your skills, then we've created a role play GPT for you that you can put in voice mode and actually talk to it back and forth. And role play. So we're going to try to do that here just so you have an example. I'm going to click this and see if we can get this up and working today. And it is very sensitive if y'all have ever used any of these things. So this is what you're going to have. It's an actual GPT. Hopefully you guys have ChatGPT and this looks familiar. So when you click the thing that's in the app we're going to give you, it's going to take you to this Production Summit GPT that's already built out. I'm going to click this little voice thing here, which allows us to talk.
Hey there. I've got a really great feeling about us teaming up. How can I jump?
And we're going to allow this here. Okay, well, I'm here at the Production Summit. Let's go ahead and get started with our role play exercise.
Awesome. Let's dive in to get started with our role play exercise. Let me know which scenario you'd like to practice, whether it's FSBO, expired, circle prospecting, or any of the others. And also let me know your target market, city and state, plus your ideal client avatar. Once I have that info, we can get rolling.
Okay, let's do expired listings in Frisco, Texas.
Perfect. Expired listings in Frisco, Texas it is. Now tell me a bit about your ideal client avatar. Are you targeting investors, downsizers, move-up buyers, or maybe relocating families? And just let me know your name and brokerage so I can personalize the scenario for you.
All right, let's say I'm looking for people that are upsizing. They probably had a new child, probably looking for like 4 to 5 bedrooms, maybe. Probably want to be close to some of the shopping and things like that. My name is Jeff with Jeff Kiani Home Team. That's all I got.
Awesome, Jeff. Got it. So we'll focus on upsizing families in Frisco, Texas, probably looking for 4 to 5 bedrooms and wanting to be near amenities. Great. Now let me know the difficulty level you'd like to start with from 1 to 5, and we'll get your simulation set up.
Okay, so again, when you guys do this and you hit copy, actually, you're just going to click the link and go to voice mode like you've seen, and you're going to give it your info, whatever your niche, target market, whatever, right? You're going to give it your info, your name, all that good stuff. I can't remember what the last question was it asked me. Oh, yeah, I was trying to skip that one. So it's also going to ask you what the level of difficulty you want is. So I have this thing built, like if you want to really, test your skill set, you say 5, and it might be a little cranky. And it really, might be like Dawn was saying, those people out there that aren't so nice. Okay, you put it on 1, it's probably going to be what we call a lay down and really easy. I'm going to go with 1.
Perfect. A difficulty level of 1 it is. That means we'll keep it pretty warm and straightforward. All right, I've got everything I need. So let's switch on your voice mode and we can jump right into the role play. Let me know when you're ready to begin.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Awesome, let's do it. So I'll play the role of a homeowner with an expired listing, and you can go ahead and start the conversation whenever you're ready. And I'll respond naturally, and we'll go from there. Let's get started.
Hi, Stacy. My name is Jeff. Listen, I'm a real estate professional in the area, and I know your home recently had come off the market, so you're probably getting a lot of calls from real estate agents right now. I know that can be annoying, but just so you know, I wasn't looking to sell your home or anything today. Just wanted to understand why you were looking to sell the home in the first place.
Absolutely, Jeff. I appreciate that approach. So I'll jump in as the homeowner. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for reaching out. Yeah, we did have our home on the market and it didn't quite sell. Honestly, we're looking to upsize because we just had a new baby and we need more space. But we've been a bit frustrated with how things went before. And you can go from there.
Great. Just out of curiosity, were you happy with the job that the previous agent did trying to sell your home?
Well, to be honest, we felt like the previous agent could have done a bit more. The marketing wasn't quite what we expected, and we didn't get as much traffic as we had hoped. Plus, communication was a bit lacking. So we're definitely looking for a different approach this time around.
Okay, great. And if the home had sold, did you have plans already on where you were going to go, or was that kind of left undecided?
Yeah, we did have some ideas in mind. We were looking at a few neighborhoods in Frisco that are closer to good schools and amenities, and we had our eyes on a few properties, but we kind of put that on hold once the sale fell through. So we're definitely ready to jump back in now.
Great. Well, the reason I asked all those questions is at my office, we're all what we call certified home selling advisors. And what that means is we've been trained on 115 different variables that can affect the home selling process. And if you mismanage any of those, as you may have found, it can have catastrophic consequences, even causing your home not to sell. Why don't we do this? I can come by and meet with you. And when I do, 1 of 3 things will happen. You may like what I have to say. And if that's the case, I explain to you how it works. You may not like what I have to say, and if that's the case, just let me know and we'll part ways. Or I may not be able to help you get the price you want or get the home sold in the amount of time that you want. And if that's the case, I'll make sure to be upfront and let you know. Fair enough?
That sounds fair enough, Jeff. I appreciate your transparency and your approach. I'm definitely open to meeting and hearing what you have to say. Let's schedule a time that works for both of us, and we can go from there.
Okay, that's great. We'll take care of that later. Let's go ahead and stop the role play session now.
Sounds good. That was a great run through. If you'd like to do another scenario or dive deeper into any specific aspect, just let me know. Great job, and I'm here whenever you're ready.
one more thing, actually. Go ahead and give me an analysis and score and everything on how you think I performed.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. Overall, you did really well. Let's break it down. First one, clarity and pacing. You had a very clear and friendly tone, and your pacing was smooth and natural. I'd give you a solid 9 out of 10 here. 2, effectiveness. You effectively built rapport and showed empathy by acknowledging the homeowner's frustrations, which was great. I'd say that's around an 8 out of 10. 3, rapport and influence. You did a great job of creating a welcoming atmosphere, and your approach was very personable. I give you an 8 out of 10 here as well. 4, script adherence and objection handling. You followed the structure well and handled objections smoothly. The ARP framework was present and you kept it natural. I'd say this is about a 9 out of 10. And 5, confidence. You were confident without being pushy, which is fantastic. That's definitely another 9 out of 10. Overall score around 8.5 out of 10 on average. Top strengths, 1, strong rapport building, 2, effective empathy and listening, 3, clear and confident communication. Opportunities to improve, maybe explore deeper into specific market conditions to show even more expertise. Add a bit more detail on unique selling strategies. And 3, just a touch more follow-up questions too.
Okay, so we all get the point. You guys will have the link to all that here on this next slide, and you guys can have all the fun you want with that. It is preloaded with Dawn's scripts, by the way. So if you want to tell it, I want to practice Dawn's scripts, it'll roll right into her scripting, and it knows what you're supposed to be doing in regards to her script, okay? So we'll let you all scan that, and Dawn Hobbs is going to come up next.
If you have any problem downloading that app with an iPhone, make sure you're on the Safari browser, and it'll allow you to save it to your home screen as long as you're on Safari browser. You can also go to app.theproductionsummit.com, and that'll take you there too.
That was good, the way you did that whole thing. Y'all get it? How was that for cool? Let's give Jeff a big round of applause. So now you've got something that you can actually use tangibly, and of course we're going to continue, and I want to wrap this day up for you, kind of bring it full circle. And let's see what we got here. Do that. It's not working.
If it's not working, go to app.theproductionsummit.com, that URL at the bottom of that slide right there.
Go. So it's worked for some people apparently. Go to your Safari and do that.
And by the way, all of the speakers' contact information is there. If you have questions for them, you can feel free to reach out, and all the slide deck is there as well.
I'm getting ready to sprint, Jeff. I'm getting ready to sprint.
By the way, our intent also is to continue to add to this app as next year rolls around and we have additional speakers. All the content will accumulate. So you guys, this is going to be kind of a living, breathing app that we want you here, but if you have to miss, you can always check back and get the content and the value. And we're going to encourage speakers and presenters to give all they can.
How many are happy that you're here today? I'll put in an early plug while you're doing some of this administrative stuff. January 8th, we're going to do it again. We're going to do all day. We've got an incredible speaker we're bringing in from Kansas City, Missouri. How many have ever heard of the E-Myth? The E-Myth. Raise your hands if you've heard of it. Surprising. Okay, more? So the E-Myth is probably one of my favorite business books of all times. How favorite is it? I gave more than 150,000 books away. Okay, I really love that book. Used to be, I would send it to people and say, read this before you show up, or it's not going to be super useful because you're not going to start off at the right level. You're just not going to understand. So I have that much faith in it. The reason I bring that book up is because that book was written as a generic book for business, and our friend Brad Horn got to meet Michael Gerber, who's a big deal in the business world and wrote the E-Myth for real estate. And he's coming to do that talk. And his primary thing will be driving database, and he is a genius at it. He does 100 deals a year with no assistant, and has a life. I mean, he has a big life. And how does he do 100 deals when most of us are born out at 10 or 12 or 15 or 20? It's because he's got people calling him constantly saying, come listen. So if you want to know that, he's going to be there. I'm going to be back. We're going to be doing, we've got a special guest that lives here in the area that you'll recognize from TV, but I'm not telling you yet, just in case he can't make it. And then we've got a panel, and what panel? All the speakers. Stacy? All the speakers who are here today, unless they can't make it, they'll be back on stage again for a panel to talk about all the things that you just heard. So we want to have some continuity between one event and the next. I think that will be an easy way to pull you all forward. So let's go to work and figure out how to get this all put into place. By the way, Jeff mentioned something I wanted to say kind of off script, off slides. I was a big student of time management at the age of 19. I sort of moved around a room. It's a bigger room than this, but I was around a room. Saw a lot of big business people, successful men and women, and I went, what's the difference between them and anybody else that's not sitting in this room in three-piece, we used to wear three-piece suits, and all decked out. And what's the difference? And I thought, again, what I said about Jeff Bezos, he's making more money by far in the same hours. And so what occurred to me was that time, the use of time, was the biggest difference maker between the lowest level and the highest level, productivity-wise, in the world. So I had a coach. Does anybody know the name David Allen, or does anybody know the book, Getting Things Done? Really? Like 3 people? Okay, you guys got to start reading more, okay? We're going to just go there. So Getting Things Done, big book, would be one of my highest recommendations. I said the other one was my favorite business book. This might be one of my favorite business books. And David Allen was a personal coach of mine. He now lives in Belgium or Netherlands, and built an entire system. People built all kinds of things around it. Getting Things Done book has become a cult. I mean, I don't mean that way, I mean a good way. What I learned from David was a couple of things. I had 2 coaches at the same time. I had one that I paid $4,000 a month for 1 day a month. And I had another one for $3,500 a month that I paid for 2 days a month. And both of them had a major impact on my life. But one of them said to me sometime, and I want to say this to you as we hit the end of the year. He said, I want you to, between now and the next time we meet, I want you to come up with all the days off that you want and put them on your calendar. So this is your exercise. I want you to go through your calendar tonight. This isn't going to be in the slides. It's not going to be anything. You're going to have to just do this. Okay? You're going to go home and you're going to figure out all the days off that you want next year. So you got a wedding for your cousin Susie, and you got a big trip to the Caribbean, or you've got whatever you got. Put it on the calendar. So we want to get those dates off the calendar because they're not working dates. They're dates you can protect it for the things that are most important to you. You got your kids going through football. You don't know what fields are going to be on, but you know they're going to be in business in classes, on games every Saturday from this date to this date, give or take. Protect them all. Like, take all of that off your calendar. And now get it back to the purest form. I got back together with him, I think it was 2 weeks later, and he said, okay, now, what did you decide? And I said the dates, and he said, okay, where are you going to go? And I said, I hadn't thought about that. I mean, I kind of had ideas. He said, I want you to make the ideas, but then I want you to buy the tickets. Now, that was a whole level of commitment that I didn't think about. You know how much money it costs you to fund all of it for the whole year? Yeah, it's a lot. So I went through and booked all that stuff out, and if it wasn't possible to book it because of certain circumstances, whatever, but we put commitments in full form and did all that. And then when I came back, he said, that's now your schedule. And what we discovered is, here's when you're not working, which leaves only the time for work. Now here's how we're going to fill it. Okay? With that in mind, I want to give you some things today, but I want you now to go back to Don's scripts and marketing. And what are you doing in your hours? Like, now I know what time I'm working. I know what days I'm working. And I'm going to give you another little hint as we finish our session today about that. So I want to finish with how to build your undefeatable mindset. I have a question for you. What does success's energy look like? What does it look like when you see success? It could be on a football field. It could be on a tennis court. It could be in business. What does success look like? Like this. Yes. What does it look like? Is there an energy to success? Yes or yes?
Yes.
What does it look like? Confident, cheerful, upbeat, confident, right? What else? Inspiring, inspired and inspiring, right? Open. So I want you to think about all those words that you're using and think about, is that the way you're living life and the way you're showing up? Because that's what success looks like. You want to be successful. The first thing you have to do is be success. Years ago, I learned this thing about, we used to say, if only I had what they had, I could be like they are and have what they have. That's not how it works, right? It becomes be, do, and have. If I be like they are, I will do what they do and have what they have. But it starts with be. I can be like them. I have to be that person. So I want to take you through a little exercise or a couple things about that I think will really help you. My mentor, Jim Rohn, said to me when I was 18, 19, 20, 21, we spent a lot of time in trainings with him. And I remember saying, stand guard at the door of your mind, because your mind is where everything happens. That is the creator of all things. I don't mean like God creator. I mean, that's where we are in this world, on this planet, doing the work that we're supposed to be doing. We're here for a purpose. So the question is, how do I live that? And so he put that all out for me and said, stand guard at the door of your mind. What would stand between you and the successful things that you heard Don talk about, or Stacy, or Tierney, wherever she went, and others, Nancy? What would stand between you and getting those things done? What would stand between you and that level of success? What is it, Pat?
Your brain.
Your brain. What's between the six inches between your ears? Yes? So what we also begin to understand is that when we were young, we had comments. Now again, Jeff, you talked about your home life. Mine was not great, right? I didn't have a super relationship with Dad. But I can tell you, even my mom and dad, as dysfunctional as they may have been in their way, I had this discussion where they would turn to me and say, listen, you show us who you're around, we're going to tell you what you're becoming. Anybody ever had that discussion, or say, they said to you, be careful with who you hang around, because it's going to be a difference maker for you, or it's going to turn you a different direction than you want to go, or it's not going to get you where you want to be? How many had that discussion in some way, shape, or form? By the way, if you didn't have it, how many have had it with your kids? Raise your hands. How important is it that we hang around the right people? Very. So I'm curious, when did it stop? Because at that age, it's very likely that you would have that discussion. When does that stop? And yet here we are as adults, and are we really checking in on who we hang with and who we are around all the time? Because somebody said it, I think somebody said it, and maybe Jeff reiterated it, that we become the people we're around. Jim Rohn said you become the 5 people you're around. Tony Robbins calls it proximity. Tony refers to it as proximity. He says proximity is power. Being around the right people, being in the right rooms, getting in the right places, whatever that costs. I remember he told me a story one day. He said, I gotta tell you, funny, I got invited to be with a bunch of billionaires because they're thinking I'm like a coach, and of course they think I'm a billionaire, but I am a billionaire. And this was like, he was 26, 27 years old. And he said, they invite me to go on this trip, but I gotta pay my share of the private jet and the hotel, the resort that they were staying in, this private resort. It's like, I have no idea. At the time, he had just bought a castle, so he wasn't hurting, but he wasn't that guy yet. And I said yes. He said, I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just said yes, because I knew that being around that group for that long in that place was going to put me in a monster position. How many believe that? How many believe that if you're around that kind of people, it's going to make a difference in your world? How many think being in this room today is a good influence on you? That right here, that was already a good start. Right? So, by the way, never underestimate the influence of others on your thinking and results. Both things are true. Your thinking creates results. So obviously you wanted to be there. And I want you to think about operating like an athlete, operating like the mindset of an athlete. And I don't know that I got the slide in here, but I've always envisioned, Super Bowl Sunday, any game day. The TV always shows the guys, or if it's women's basketball or whatever, shows them walking into the arena, to the stadium, to the field. And they've got their headphones on and they're looking real cool. What are they listening to? What is this? What is it? I I don't know, it could be a psychologist that's in their ear about something that the yips that they've got or the things that they're working on. It could be somebody who's, could be a music that they just really, jive on, they really get their energy from. I don't know what it is, but I know that they've all got it. You see it? I mean, I don't think they ever walk in like with nothing on their ears. Maybe it's to shut out the noise, but I'm thinking there's something going on inside. So I want you to think about how you can start to influence yourself in a positive way. And I want to give you this little insight on what Jim said was stand guard at the door of your mind. So this is where I want you to start really giving yourself more energy and taking away less energy by thinking about being proactive in the actions that you take, being decisive about the moves and the choices that you're making. For example, turn off the news. When I met Allison, I remember saying to her, I don't watch news. Now we've adopted that as a couple, we don't watch news. We have no idea. And here's my thought. If it's a big deal, I'm going to hear about it. What I know is that all news, because it's sold by the news coverage, by the news agencies, is based on fear and negativity, and it's what drives people. They go to a commercial and they're like, when we come back, 10 ways your water is killing you in Frisco, Texas. I mean, it's like, give me a freaking break. And we hang out and go, can't wait to get back from commercial to hear what the 10 ways are. I told my mom a long time ago, I said, you watch the news at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 11 o'clock. She didn't go to 11 o'clock anymore, she's older, but I'm like, it's the same freaking news. Nothing's changed, there was a shooting in between, but I mean, other than that, there's nothing. The same war, the same murders, the same rapes, the same stories all day long. And by the way, tomorrow, let's check in. Same stuff. It's a regurgitation of the same things. They take a different angle of negativity. So I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember the show Dragnet that was Just the Facts, man. Just the Facts. I get the facts. We get the facts off of, what's it called? Alexa. There's no Alexas on our counter. And it comes up with the headline, and I go, oh, that's interesting, such and such happened. Or she'll call me, hey, did you see the, whatever. That's all the news I need. I know enough. Then minimize drama, because in the end, we are drama machines. Humans love drama. We love drama. We get into it. It's like inside you know how bad it was for me? Oh, that's nothing. You should hear what happened to me. Like, we love that stuff. If you're hanging around the right people, you're not going to hear that conversation. TV speaks to the masses, and if you watch most TV shows, they're aimed at a very low level of mentality. Now, there's some very inspiring stuff, lots more documentaries today than ever before, lots of cool things that are out there. I mean, shows like Ted Lasso, to me, good show. Positive, uplifting message, right? Cool stuff. There's others, right? What's the golf one that just came out with Stick? Yeah, I mean, just like positive thoughts, really good stuff, but for the most part, what's on TV that's really not just about rapes and murders and killings and shootings and everybody else dying. So let's be careful, be aware of the influences that are around you. Check your words. What words are you using to describe you? I've never been good at that. Yeah, I don't do that. Yeah, that scares me. No, I don't think, I've never been smart enough to understand all the tech stuff. I don't do tech. Like, think about the words, the affirmations. I was in a room not long ago, and I think somebody in here was with me in Plano, and this guy said to me, well, I'm getting old. And he said, at 64, I don't know if I want to go through all this tech stuff. And I said, okay, first of all, let's redefine. 64 ain't old. In fact, in this era, 64 is the new 44, right? But if you think that way, guess what? You're going to be older than 64. You will start acting 84. And I'll tell you this, if you fall behind on tech today, you will find yourself way behind on everything. This AI stuff that Jeff was talking about, that ain't optional. This is like, you have to keep up. Well, I don't trust it. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to it's good for the good it does. Operate with the efficiencies and the thoughts in mind, your heart, but you cannot not use it. And then finally, routines and rituals, and that's what I want to leave you with today. But before we do that, I want to give you this little insight, because again, get out the negative stuff, stop that stuff, and then pour in the positive stuff. So what should you be doing? I've asked you about 2 or 3 books, and nobody's read them. There's a few good books out there. Oh, that's right, there's about 1,000 good books. You know, we have a mastermind that goes on in the mornings, every morning from 9 o'clock to 9:30 our central time. 9 o'clock to 9:30. 30 minutes a day, mastermind. And people are reading a book, same book. So today's Wednesday. Friday, we start a new book. The book is called Fierce Conversations. Today and tomorrow, we're ending a book called, or we ended a book tomorrow, called Atomic Habits. Do you know in the last 2 years, that group has read 34 books and mastermind on every morning. How am I doing? What did I get from it? How am I using them? How am I applying that? What can I do with it? By the way, if you're interested in that, come up and see me. I'll get you information on how to get in there. It's free. You want to get around a positive environment of people that are leveling up and consistently growing? That's the group. And it's online, so you don't even go anyplace. You can do it in your jams. Okay? So books are a big deal. Reading your stuff that goes on in YouTube and the whole university. Jeff didn't make it through high school. I made it through high school, but I never went beyond that. Today we don't need, well, I'm not going to say that because somebody's going to be offended and you just paid $150,000 a year for somebody to go to Harvard. I'm just saying that what is true is today, most of what we're learning is online already. And AI is making it even faster and better. So elevate your circle of influence. My friend, I just saw Chaz Wilson 2 weeks ago at the AI Marketing World Conference here in Dallas. By the way, it's happening here next year in Dallas. High recommendation. Badass stuff. Really good. And Chaz Wilson was there. Chaz wrote a book called 5+1. In the book 5+1, one of the things he said was, I started admiring these people. I'm reading books. I'm starting to read, Andy Andrews. I'm starting to read David Allen. He said, I'm starting to read these people and I'm starting to admire them. Like, wow. Can you imagine if I met them? And he said, then I get their information, they call, and funny enough, they take my call. And if they were local, I'd ask them if I could take them to lunch or take them to dinner, or if it's going to be in their area, I'd love to take them to dinner. He said, they all said yes. Nobody ever turned me down. And he said, suddenly these people that were my admiration started becoming my social circle, and we were talking to each other and texting each other and keeping in touch with each other. And he said, when these people became these people, and they were just at the same level as I was, my whole social circle changed, my whole life changed. So what you have to understand, guys, you have to ask to get in the circles. You have to ask to be in the right places. And then, of course, inspiring podcasting. We've got so much content, it's unbelievable. And journaling, I saw my friend back here, Vince, writing in a journal. I've got my journal back there. Some of you are using real journals, right, Brian? I see yours. But some of you are still on notepads and, like yellow pads and stuff. Where's it going to go? What are you going to do with it? Go to success.com and buy Jim Rohn journals. They're awesome, they're leather, they're beautiful, and you can buy a whole bunch that match. So it looks good on your shelf. And if you start documenting your life, you'll be shocked what's going to happen. All right, so let's wrap this thing up by saying you need to have a plan for your growth. You have a plan for your business. I got the whole plan from Don, I got the whole plan from Stacy. I believe the best marketer wins, by the way. I've always believed that. The best marketer always wins. It's not the best realtor ever, it's the best marketer who wins. How many of you know you're being beat by people who aren't as good as you are and still sell lots more houses than you sell? How many of you can identify at least one person? Not nearly as good. That Blake beat me. I can't believe they called her. They called him. What were they thinking? It's the best marketer wins, not the best realtor. So, have a growth plan. What does it look like? Well, this is going to be in your slide deck. You've got the whole slide deck. You can take a screenshot of it now, or you can do the QR code. But here's a growth plan for you. It's a simple form. And what it documents is what are you going to do each, get out of your way. What are you going to do each and every month for growth and development of you? For growth and development of you. So, for example, if you said, well, I really want to get my finances together, good. What 3 books or podcasts or things are you going to do in the month of January or December, whenever you want to start this? What are you going to do in that month that's going to move you forward? I'm going to take that seminar, I'm taking that training, I'm doing that online thing, I'm doing a podcast, and I'm whatever. What's your formula? What's your list? Come up with your plan. When you start checking off the plan, it's going to be developing yourself. Here's what I remember hearing from a friend of mine. There's a guy by the name of Gary Keller, some of you may know him, but he ran a pretty successful company called Keller Williams. And he said to me a long time ago, he said, we build people and people build the business. And I think for all of you, if you realize that if you want to really grow your business, you don't grow a business, you grow yourself. And as a result of that, your business grows. Something I learned a long time ago is you will never far exceed your personal development in your income. So we came through this earlier today, and I said, you make all these moves, and you think you're doing something good, did this, did that, did whatever, action, 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 action. So get anywhere you want to go, purposeful action. There's a gap between where you ended up, let's say for this year, and where you want to be. Jeff asked about that. Did you miss your goals by a little lot? You know? I want to show you how to do it exactly how it will work for you. 100% hit. There's a phrase that was used in the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And the phrase was, begin with the end in mind. Go out. What does it look like when it's built? What does it look like when it's done? What does success look like? Now, that could be 1 year, it could be 5 years, 10 years, whatever. In fact, in this case, let's just take it from where you are now to where you want to be. And let's call it the end of 26. Let's just say the end of 26 for the sake of argument. So instead of going forward and taking that action, first action, next action, instead of doing that, let's go all the way out and say, great, if I want to be there, okay, so let's say 10 years, then I have to come back to this point, and if I'm at this point, at 5 years, I'm on track to be there in 10. If you ever golf, who knows how to golf? Did you ever realize that when you putt the ball, you look down at the ground, you're looking at this like it's going to curve like this. So I got to hit that blade of grass, and I got to hit that blade of grass, and then it curves right in. You know what I'm talking about? Could be that severe, could be much more gentle, but one way or the other, I've got a path for it. And that's what we're talking about. What's the straight line path to success? And we're going to back up and say, for me to be there, I need to be here in 5 years. I need to be where? In 3 years. Where do I need to be in 1 year, 2 years, 12 months? Right? Where do I need to be in 6 months? Where do I need to be? And you just work it backwards and say, well, if I'm there, I'm really on track. If I'm there, it's going to be awesome. What's it going to take for me to get there? Well, it's going to take me being there in 3 months, which is 13 weeks. There's a book called, by the way, the 12-Week Year. Make that one of your books. 12-Week Year. And it talks about how to do sprints of a quarter. How do you do sprints of a quarter? And if you follow it, what you'll start to wonder is, could I actually do 4 years worth of work in 1 year? If I put 1 year's worth of work in 1 quarter, and instead of doing it once I'm accomplishing something over a month, I accomplish it over a week. And by the way, my coach that showed me this formula for getting my vacations and all that, he called it the vacation miracle. He said, did you ever notice how when you get to vacation time, you're going on vacation and you're leaving on Friday, that week you're super efficient? How many of you ever noticed that? So what do? It's like somebody calls and says, hey, let's do coffee, or hey, let's have a beer, you say, not this week, we're leaving on Friday, I gotta get some stuff done. And you say, totally purposeful. And what if you lived in that way all the time? Because you already have your days off, you know when you're working, and you know when you're not. So now you just work on permanent vacation mode. That's what he said to me. I want you living in permanent vacation mode. The vacation miracle is what he called it. Then you come back to 1 month, by the way, 1 week, and then you get to each hour, and then to now. What am I doing right now? What am I doing right now that's making a difference? Is this on track with that? Well, if it's not, then why are you doing it? So here's my question, and say it with me. What time is it? Say it with me.
What time is it?
It's game time.
Game time.
Game time. So what does game time mean? There they are. I did have it sliding. I thought I might. So there's game time, right? They're getting ready. So what does this show you? Because it's not about the music or the psychologist or the whatever is in their head. By the way, how many remember last year the NFL NFC Championship when who's the athlete who was reading the Inner Excellence book on the sidelines? In the middle of a game, he's reading Inner Excellence. What's his name? Anybody remember? A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's reading the book. On the sidelines, reading the book. We're in the middle of a freaking NFL championship, and he's reading a book because he wants the mindset. How many think they have a ritual that's very specific before game time? Have you played some sports? Is there a ritual that goes into success? Is there? Yes or yes? So what does that ritual look like? Like, when does it start? Well, we want to go and figure it out. What we really want to do is we want to figure out what time is your game time. So what's game time for all of us? Game time is our first appointment of the day. And you know what I loved about what Dawn said is her time is protected between what time, Dawn? 8 and 10. 8 o'clock, she goes on. That's game time. Now, maybe it's earlier. Maybe she said, no, my game time is 7, but at 8 I go into a calling time. What's your game time, Dawn? When does business start? 8 o'clock? Okay, all right. So she's in at 8 o'clock, and she knows that. By the way, most of us don't have that. We go, I don't have anything tomorrow, so I'm going to sleep in. That's not the way to work it. There's a schedule to success, right? There's a thing. So we're going to put the routine together, and what does your morning ritual look like? That's what I want you to come out of this with. And I'm going to give you all kinds of blank spaces there. We're going to put game time at the end. And you're going to identify what time is game time. So right next to that, on your paper, what is game time for you? For Dawn, it's 8 a.m. What's it for you? Who wants to throw one out? By the way, 11 o'clock is not acceptable. I can predict your future. It isn't working. Okay? 9 a.m.? Doesn't matter. It could be 9, 8:30, could be 6:30, could be... Jeff, what time did you start your calls for the investors? What time did you make calls? 7:55. So we had a specific time, game time, and everything before that builds into the mindset of success. Because we know what success looks like. It's confident and ready and enabled. Yes? So I put some things together for you and just said, this may be some things that you might want to consider. Doesn't mean you have to do all, doesn't mean these are yours. Just means these are things that could be good. How fast can you get some protein in your body? Start the body fuel. You know, even if you have breakfast later, how do I get something in my body instantly? Right? You got warm water and purify the system. It's going to flush the system. What time do we need to wake? Now here's the interesting part. Game time is at the very bottom. If you go back up this way, and then up the next level, and then up the next level, what you're going to discover is, how long does it take you to dress and get ready? For some people, it's going to be an hour. For some people, it's going to be 15 minutes. I don't know. I'm not judging. I'm just suggesting to you, you have to figure out how long that is. And then before that, it's net time. It's fire listening. What does that mean? I'm doing something else. I may be making breakfast. I may be hanging out, doing something, but I'm listening to something powerful, positive that's going to input to my life. Yes? Net time. No extra time. Connect with family. So we're all having breakfast together. Cool. Done deal. Protein breakfast. Yes. Move, walk, workout. What does that look like for you? Some people do it in the afternoons. I think you'll find, and Jeff does 2 a day apparently, I think you'll find most people that have the best workout routines do it in the morning, not in the afternoon. Hard sometimes when you've had a rough day to go, I still got to go to the gym. Easy to get up and say, I'm going into the gym. And by the way, do you feel more energized or less energized after being in the gym? So wouldn't that be a great way to go? Do you know that the basketball players play a game at 7:30 at night? You know they're in the gym sometimes as early as 4:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon? They're pumping weights. You ever tried that, pumping weights and then shooting a basketball? It's like spaghetti arms. But they've got the routine down. Then they ice down. Then they get massage. Then they shoot around. Then they do all the stuff that's necessary to get themselves ready for what? Game time. How many like the idea of this? Make sense? So here's 3 questions for you. 2 questions and a thought, and that is, who do you need to be? Write this down. This will be very important. Take a picture of it. That'll work. Take a picture of it. So I put a little camera out there. Who do you need to be? Who do you need to be? By the way, write this little phrase. Different from who you're being. I think it's whom. Who do you need to be different from whom you're being to have everything you want in life? What do you need to do, caveat, comma, different from what you're doing now to have everything you want in life? See you, Kevin. See you, Kevin. Bye, Kevin. Bye. Still. Oh, I'm always gonna point that out. I usually call people out. Yeah, I do. So who do you need to be different than who you're being right now to have everything you want? What do you need to do different from what you've been doing to have everything you want? And if you be and do different, you will have what you want. Does that make sense? Yes? Yes. All right, Jim Rohn said you can have more than you've got. We're gonna finish up here in the next 3 minutes, so if you don't have to leave, give me 3 minutes. Jim Rohn said you can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. Meaning, I can have more because I can be bigger. That's within my capabilities. I showed you guys last month or 2 months ago leverage points, leverage personal development, systems and structures, and systems. Yeah, systems. Third was marketing, and fourth was people. And personal growth is the beginning of it because I can leverage me right off the bat. I can get better. I can get better. I can be better. Okay. So you can have more than you got. So you can become more than you are. And by the way, I said it a little differently, which is you can have more than you've got when you remember who you are. I want you to really hear what I just said. When you remember who you are, God didn't create no junk. You were created in a big way. You were created for greatness. You were created to do big things. Anything less than that is something that you bought into. Everything less than that is something you believed in. Everything less than that is something somebody else told you that you accepted. And by the way, when you're 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, I get it. I had that same stuff being said to me. But I can also tell you that at some point it becomes a choice. And what I want you to hear is that you're better than you know, you're bigger than you know, and I want you to hear that before you leave today. And I want to finish this with a favorite thing of mine. By the way, on Netflix right now, they are running a show that I haven't seen on TV for, I think, forever, but it's a movie called Coach Carter. Anybody ever seen Coach Carter? If you didn't see Coach Carter, watch it. If you're not on Netflix, go to your friend's house and watch party. Coach Carter was a movie that was transformative, and it's, by the way, about a real coach in Oakland, California, that transformed young men's lives by helping them, by coaching them, not just in basketball, and they went on to win championships. These were, you think life was rough, these guys they were on the wrong side of town. Guns, drugs, you name it, everything was possible in their world, and they're trying to play basketball. And he had some very strict rules and created boys and turned them into men. That's banned. But it wasn't them, that was a basketball team. That was a joke, but it didn't work. So Coach Carter, at the end of the movie, I remember being in a theater and watching this movie, and all this stuff has transpired, drugs, and he rescued kids from stuff they shouldn't have been in. It's like amazing movie, an amazing human being. True story, he's still alive, does movies. And this kid stood up in the classroom, stood up, like where you are, Jim. Stood up, and he's saying to the coach, thanks, for like you changed my life. But he said these words, and I remember hearing the words, and I'd never heard the poem before, I'd never heard this writing before, but I remember the kid started talking, and I grabbed a phrase, and I typed it into my phone, and it came up Google, Our Deepest Fear, Marianne Williamson. How many know the poem or the saying or the phrase? It's pretty powerful. Listen to me as I say it to you, okay? I'm gonna recite this from memory if I do it right. Marianne Williamson wrote a book called A Return to Love. And by the way, if you don't believe love is at the basis of all things, you're missing the point, probably especially with your clients, because loving on them is probably the best way to have repeat clients forever. She said, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond all measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people around you won't feel insecure. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that's within us. And it's not just in some of us, it's in every one of us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our fears, our presence automatically liberates others. Pretty well said, huh? Not me, her. I want you to hear this. You are bigger than you know. Stop playing small. Dig in. Right now is your chance. You're setting a tone for next year. You want it to be different? It starts today. Give the neighbor right next to you, give him a high five and say, you got this. Stop playing small. I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to myself. We're all playing small. We were built bigger than this. Do you believe that? Yes or yes? Okay. Thank you for being here. Nicole, do you want to say anything? Do you want to do announcements? Okay, so our sponsors, thank our sponsors. Yes, a big round of applause, thank you. One final QR code. Thank you. So, Unstoppable, January 8th. This year, 2025, January 8th. We did an event. It was a Wednesday. This year, it's going to be a Thursday, but January 8th. Just fast enough to kick in the butt right after the New Year starts, get you out of the holiday mode and into action. We've got a dynamic day planned. We will have a panel, as I described, at least the people that were on stage today, we hope they'll all be there. We'll have another panel on time planning, management, that stuff. We're going to have 3 or 4 great speakers. I've got 3 of them figured out. A couple of them not so much. I'm still working on it. But I would love for you to be there, and I would love for you to go there now. The price on it, did you see? Did you see how much it was?
$3.99?
No.
Oh,
$108 with the fee tax, okay? I'm going to give you a code right now. People already walked out, they don't know. They buy it, so sad, too bad, they left. Okay? I'm giving you a code, growth, GROTH. Type in growth right now, go right to that. Type in growth. GROWTH. Did I miss that? I spelled it wrong, sorry. Okay, sorry. GROWTH. Thank you, Stacey. Growth. If you do that, what does the price go to? It's free. So for you, it's free. For those that left early, so sorry, too bad. Thank you for the $108 contribution. We appreciate you very much. We'd like you to come for free. Sign up right now. Let's get you in there. Let's make a commitment. How do I know you have nothing going on during that time? It's the beginning of the year. Most of you are going to sit around going, how do I get my action back? How do I get my momentum going? Come on, let's go. All right, final thing. Events, holiday parties. Yes.
Everybody, we want you there. December 11th, Glen Eagles. Please come. We have a good time, I promise.
It'll be awesome.
Scan it right now, get it right now. It could sell out. It sold out a couple years ago. So you want your ticket. Come. We have fun. We get to know each other. We network. We have fun.
We party.
I do want to say one thing. I'll keep it fast. I know we're over time. I was in a session done by Beach Frederick a couple weeks ago. If you guys want an easy way to generate leads, I saw it before my 2 eyes. There were several people in the room that walked away in that hour session with 30, 40, 180 leads, I think 80. And all they did was send a text out to anybody that they could think of in their phone, mainly focusing on those connectors, those people that know people, and those people that are willing to connect people. We all have them in our lives. Find those people because those are the money makers, but also just send a text. Hey, I'm in a contest. I need real estate leads. Who do you got for me? I need them now, fast. I can't talk right now. And see what comes back.
Shocking what happens. Do it right now before you leave. Just sit there, talk to a friend.
And by the way, you can do it any time too, but you don't actually need to be in a contest. But I am curious, you guys on the app, it's my contact information. Whoever can get the most by the end of the day, be honest, I have another gift card.
Nice. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you so much. Thanks for our panelists. And Jeff, thanks for being here. Thanks for everybody being here. Nicole, great job on setting it up. Thank you. Group picture.